Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 733. Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned. He had only said it casually, he did not expect the black dragon snake to be so persistent. Are you sure? He asked again. I'm sure. The black dragon snake nodded, its eyes filled with determination. All right, wait a moment. Qin Feiyang looked at it deeply, then turned around and walked to the front of the flood dragon cauldron, refining a disaster spirit pill and a marrow cleansing pill. The black dragon snake took the disaster spirit pill and stuffed it into its mouth without hesitation. His cultivation immediately plummeted. Qin Feiyang also began to refine the quenching body pill and the qi gathering pill. 3 days later, he grabbed a universe bag and threw it to the black dragon snake, saying, "These quenching body pill and qi gathering pill are enough for you to break through to the war chief." Thank you. The black dragon snake sincerely thanked him. We're all on the same side, there's no need to be so polite. Don't think about anything else in the future. Just focus on cultivating. We're all waiting for you to rise. Qin Feiyang laughed. After this period of time, he had already treated the black dragon snake as his family. Similarly, the black dragon snake had also completely integrated into this big family. Next, Qin Feiyang consumed a mirage form pill and turned into a thin and weak youth. He left the castle, opened the teleportation gate, and directly descended on the street in front of the main pavilion. The news that the main pavilion was going to auction the potential pill had already spread 3 days ago. Therefore, even though it was early in the morning, there was already a sea of people. Qin Feiyang stood in the middle of the crowd and scanned the crowd in front of the main pavilion. Soon, on the left side of the door, he saw a thin and short man in black, anxiously looking at the crowd. Qin Feiyang walked over in large strides and smiled. Have you reserved the room? That's right. This person was Fatso. Fatso looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously, as if he suddenly thought of something. He chuckled. Do you even need to say that? I already booked it yesterday. Then let's go. Qin Feiyang laughed. Fatso turned around and led Qin Feiyang into the general pavilion. Then, they walked towards the auction house. Everywhere he passed, he heard discussions about the potential pill and Qin Feiyang. Boss, you're really a big shot now. Even a 3-year-old child knows your name. Fatso snickered. Qin Feiyang glared at him and transmitted his voice. Don't talk about these useless things. Quickly go and find out if the princes have come. There's no need to ask. They're already here, but there's a problem. As Fatso spoke, he could not help but frown. What trouble? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. They have 2 guards with them. Furthermore, they might have also realized that you would attack them. That's why they're extremely vigilant. In my opinion, it will be very difficult to find an opportunity to attack them. Fatso thought. If there's no chance, then create one. Anyway, I have to kill them today. Qin Feiyang whispered, his eyes flashing with a shocking murderous intent. Soon, the 2 entered a VIP room. The layout inside was quite simple. In the center, there was an exquisite coffee table. Next to the coffee table, there were 5 chairs neatly placed. Although it was simple, it was not low-key. Because whether it was the ground or the walls, they were all inlaid with gorgeous gold and jade. And in front of them, there was a transparent floor-to-ceiling window, which could clearly see the outside scene. Qin Feiyang leaned on the chair and looked at the auction house below through the floor-to-ceiling window. It was still early before the auction, but at this moment, people were already coming and going, densely packed. Fatso looked outside and said, "Boss, I'll go and find out which VIP room the princes are in. Be careful, don't reveal any flaws." Qin Feiyang warned. Don't worry about Fat Lord's work. Fatso smiled confidently and then hurried in. Qin Feiyang looked outside in silence. The room fell into a dead silence for a moment. Dong! Suddenly, A knock on the door broke the dead silence. "Please come in," Qin Feiyang said. The door opened gently, and a man and a woman walked in one after another. Both of them looked to be in their 20s. The man was handsome and the woman was youthful and beautiful. They were both dressed in white, spotless, and had a good temperament. Qin Feiyang looked at the two unfamiliar faces and asked suspiciously, "You are?" "I'm Li Li, this is my cousin, Li Rong. The two of us have taken the liberty to visit you. If we have disturbed you, I hope you will forgive us." The white-clothed young man cupped his hands and smiled, displaying a refined and courteous attitude. The woman in white also bowed to Qin Feiyang. "Li Li? Li Rong?" Qin Feiyang frowned slightly. He had no impression of this name and asked in confusion, "Do I know you?" "This is the first time we've met." "Of course, we don't know each other." "Brother, may I know your name?" The young man in white asked with a smile. "Wang Hao." Qin Feiyang casually made up a name. "Wang Hao," the young man in white thought for a while and said with a smile, "King of the world, vast and righteous. Brother Wang's name is really extraordinary. Nice to meet you." "Ah." Qin Feiyang was stunned. King of the world, vast and righteous? This person's imagination was too rich, wasn't it? What's the matter? He looked at the two of them in confusion. Since they didn't know each other, why did they come to him? Crazy? The young man in white glanced at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, "Brother Wang, are you thinking that we're crazy?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. This person was so good at reading people's expressions. It seems that I guessed right. The young man in white smiled and didn't look angry. He said, "I'm here to ask for a seat." "A seat?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and frowned. "What do you mean?" "Look outside. There's a sea of people. There's no place to stand at all. The other VIP rooms have also been reserved. They're basically big shots in the capital. I have neither strength nor background. I really dare not look for them. So, I came to try my luck here." The young man in white smiled. "I can take it that you didn't reserve a seat in advance and now you want to get one here?" Qin Feiyang said. "Yes." The young man in white nodded. "Is that so?" Qin Feiyang narrowed his eyes slightly. This reason seemed too far-fetched. The auction house was so big. There were so many places to stand. Why did he come to him? "Actually, I'm quite embarrassed to disturb Brother Wang. But I really don't have a choice. Look at my cousin. She's a slender and elegant maiden. If she squeezes with those people outside, won't she be a lamb in a tiger's den? So, I hope Brother Wang can lend a helping hand and take us in. Besides, this room is quite big. The two of us won't hinder Brother Wang." The young man in white smiled. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, "I'm sorry. I don't like to stay with strangers." It was clear that the brother and sister had ulterior motives. So, he didn't dare to keep such a hidden danger by his side. Sigh. The young man in white sighed softly and said, "Brother Qin, why don't you trust people? I really don't mean any harm." "Brother Qin?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. Then, a fierce light burst out of his eyes. He said, "What did you call me just now?" "Brother Qin." The young man in white looked at Qin Feiyang. But then, he slapped his head hard and said in annoyance, "How could I let it slip? Who exactly are you?" Qin Feiyang suddenly stood up and glanced at the two coldly. "Brother Qin, don't misunderstand. I swear to you that we really don't mean any harm." The young man in white hurriedly waved his hand. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, "Then how do you know my identity?" He didn't tell anyone about coming to the general pavilion. But these two people not only came to find him, but also knew his identity. Could this be a coincidence? So, it must be premeditated. Facing Qin Feiyang's aggressive gaze, The young man in white smiled helplessly and nodded. Okay, I admit it. It was Lu Xingchen who told me. Him? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said, I don't think I told him that I'm coming to the general pavilion. You didn't tell him, but he guessed that you're going to deal with the princes. And to deal with the princes, the auction of the potential elixir is undoubtedly the best opportunity. The young man in white said. This person really has godlike foresight. Qin Feiyang frowned. A person you didn't know much about could see through your thoughts. It felt like you were standing naked in front of him, with no secrets to speak of. And Qin Feiyang didn't like this feeling very much. After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang said again, even so, how did you recognize me? One had to know. He had changed his appearance now. Even those who often stayed by his side might not be able to recognize him. The young man in white shook his head and smiled. This is my privacy. I can't tell Brother Qin. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. You and Lu Xingchen are exactly the same. You're full of mystery. You flatter me. Then, Brother Qin, can we stay here? The young man in white asked with a smile. Qin Feiyang returned to his seat and looked at the auction outside. As long as you don't hinder me, it's up to you. Thank you, Brother Qin. The young man in white cupped his hands and thanked him. Then, he led Li Rong to sit on the right side of the tea table. At this time, the door was pushed open without warning. Fatso rushed in. Boss, but just as he was about to speak, he found that there were two strangers here. He walked suspiciously to Qin Feiyang's side and asked, Boss, who are they? I don't know. Qin Feiyang secretly said. Fatso wondered, why did you let them stay here? Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, I don't know them, but they know me. They even know the purpose of our visit to the general pavilion. What? Fatso looked at Li and Li Rong in surprise. The young man in white cupped his hands and smiled. Brother Situ, nice to meet you. Even Fat Lord recognized me? Fatso was in disbelief. Qin Feiyang sent a sound transmission, don't worry about them. How's the investigation? I've found out. They're in VIP rooms 1 and 12. Fatso said. How many came in total? Qin Feiyang asked. 12. They're all familiar to you. Second prince to 15th prince. Fatso said. Good. Chapter 734. Seeing Qin Feiyang and Fatso exchanging glances, Li also knew that the two must be secretly talking about something. But he didn't ask or say anything. About half an hour passed. Dong! A loud and clear chime of a bell echoed in the auction hall. The scene fell into a dead silence. Everyone was looking at the auction stage in the center. After a while, an old man in white came into everyone's sight. It was Sun Dahai. Sun Dahai stood in the middle of the stage and chuckled. I believe everyone is impatient from waiting. Yes. Don't talk nonsense, let's start. The crowd roared with laughter. Sun Dahai said, I don't want to talk nonsense, but there are some things that I have to say. Everyone held their breath and waited for him to continue. Sun Dahai said, everyone knows that the potential pill came from Qin Feiyang. Everyone nodded. This was something that was known to all. If Qin Feiyang is still here, our general pavilion will definitely not run out of stock. Because no matter what price we have to pay, we will buy it from Qin Feiyang. But it's different now. Qin Feiyang is wanted and his whereabouts are unknown. No one can supply us with the potential pill. Because of this, the value of the potential pill now is undoubtedly greater than before. I might as well tell everyone the truth. Our treasure pavilion only has 5 potential pills in our hands now. It can be said that every pill used is one less pill. Sun Dahai sighed. The people present also sighed for a while. Yes. Qin Feiyang is no longer here, and the potential pill is going to be peerless. The remaining 5 potential pills are really more precious than peerless treasures. Fatso frowned and said discontentedly, auction it, what's the point of talking so much nonsense? People who do business will definitely use some emotional means in advance to raise the value of the auction items. Lily laughed. Did Fat Lord talk to you? Why are you talking so much? Besides, how can Fat Lord not understand such a simple principle? Fatso looked at Lily coldly. Lily was stunned. He smiled helplessly and said, all right, it's my fault. I'll shut up. You better shut up. Fatso harumphed coldly and transmitted his voice, boss, why don't we continue to cooperate with the General Pavilion in secret? No. The person behind the General Pavilion is also the Emperor. If the potential pill continues to be auctioned, it will definitely arouse suspicion. Qin Feiyang said. Most importantly, he was not short of money now, so there was no need to take this risk. Sun Dahai continued to say a series of emotional words. In the end, the people in the auction house were full of fighting spirit and looked determined to win. Seeing such an effect, Sun Dahai was very satisfied. He smiled and said, all right, I've said what needs to be said. Next, let's start the auction. After saying that, he took out a jade box and opened it. As soon as the lid of the box was opened, a strong medicinal fragrance immediately filled the air of the auction house. Everyone's eyes immediately lit up. Sun Dahai's face became serious. He said, same old rules, bid freely, no cap. Begin. 250 billion. Before he finished speaking, an arrogant voice sounded from one of the VIP rooms. What? 250 billion right off the bat? As soon as this was said, the auction house was in an uproar. One had to know. Those potential pills that were auctioned in the past were the highest price. With such a high price, how were the others going to bid? Not everyone is qualified to bid for a treasure like the potential pill. That arrogant voice sounded again. It's the second prince's voice? Fatso frowned. Yes, it's him. Qin Feiyang nodded. Lily smiled and said, today's auction will definitely be more intense than before. It can even be said to be an invisible battle. Qin Feiyang nodded. Now that the eldest prince was dead, the position of the crown prince was empty. In order to compete for the position of the crown prince, the princes would think of ways to make themselves more outstanding. The more effective, direct, and faster way was undoubtedly the potential pill. As long as one got the potential pill and opened the door of potential, one's talent would change drastically. At that time, the chances of succeeding the position of the crown prince would of course be greater. In addition, there were only 5 potential pills in the treasure pavilion, so the princes would naturally fight for them. Second brother is right. Before bidding for the potential pill, we have to consider whether we have the ability or not. I bid 250 billion. At this moment, another arrogant voice sounded. Moreover, there was a hint of threat in his words. This was a threat to everyone except the princes. Third prince. Everyone was stunned. Those who had the ability to participate in the auction could be said to be either rich or noble. Which one of these people wasn't a shrewd old fox? They naturally understood the hidden meaning of the third prince's words. Therefore, no one dared to bid. No one dared to offend these princes. Third brother, how much wealth do you have? I know better than anyone. Why bother to compete? 250 billion. As soon as the third prince's voice fell, the second prince opened his mouth to mock. That's not necessarily true. 253 billion. The third prince continued to bid, unwilling to admit defeat. Then let's join in. 254 billion. 255 billion. The other princes also began to scramble to bid. For a time, the auction house became the exclusive battlefield of the princes. It was extremely intense. As for the others, they all became idlers who joined in the fun. Looking at this scene, Fatso sneered. Back in the imperial palace, none of these people didn't want Qin Feiyang to die. But now? They were all here madly bidding for the pills refined by Qin Feiyang. Didn't they find it ridiculous? Suddenly, Fatso looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Boss, Fat Lord has a question." "What?" Qin Feiyang asked. Fatso said, "Since the owner of the treasure pavilion is also the emperor, why doesn't the emperor directly give them the potential pill?" Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled, and said, "If we do this, it will involve a lot of conflicts. First, who should we give the potential pill to? If we give it to the second prince, the other princes will definitely be dissatisfied. If we give it to another prince, the second prince will also feel uncomfortable. At that time, he will definitely say that the emperor is biased towards someone. Secondly, the son of the emperor is different from the children of ordinary families. For the children of ordinary families, their parents will do everything they can to give them everything they want. But the son of the emperor has to learn to fend for himself from a young age. Because they are destined to be different from the moment they were born. If a son of the emperor doesn't have the ability, he will be abandoned sooner or later and fend for himself. Therefore, in some aspects, the emperor won't care and let them fight for it with their own ability." Qin Feiyang explained. "In the past, I was quite envious of them. They were born high and mighty and didn't have to worry about food and clothing. But after hearing what you said, I think it's better to forget about it. It's so hard to live, it's better to live an ordinary life." Fatso shook his head. "I don't agree with this. The poor have their troubles, the rich have their troubles. The only difference is that different people have different problems. Actually, in the end, it's the same. There's not much difference," Li said. Fatso immediately frowned and said angrily, "Didn't I tell you to shut up?" Fine, I'll shut up. Li was a little helpless. Qin Feiyang glanced at Li and continued to look at the auction house. He transmitted his voice. "What he said makes sense." "Bullshit." Fatso coldly snorted. He just didn't like this person. Qin Feiyang didn't discuss this issue anymore and said to himself, "How many gold coins do we have?" "More than 300 billion, what's wrong?" Fatso asked. "Nothing." Qin Feiyang responded and didn't say anything else. His eyes flickered. Soon, the various princes raised the price of the potential pill to 260 billion. This price had far exceeded the previous auction prices. But Sun Dahai was very dissatisfied. What he wanted was to double the price of the potential pill. But after the princes made such a fuss, the others didn't dare to bid. According to this situation, it was estimated that at most, it would be 300 billion in the end. "I have to think of a way." He pondered in his heart 270 billion. But at this moment, a calm voice sounded. Everyone immediately raised their heads and looked at the VIP room where the voice came from. This voice sounds familiar. I also feel like I've heard it somewhere before. Everyone was suspicious. This seems to be Zhuge Mingyang's voice. He also intends to interfere. At the same time, Fatso frowned slightly. He increased the price by 10 billion in one go. He doesn't intend to interfere, but is determined to win. And I'm sure that the princes won't compete with Zhuge Mingyang. Qin Feiyang said. Zhuge Mingyang had already opened the second level of the Gate of Potential with his own ability. If he could get another potential pill, he would be able to open the third level. His talent would undoubtedly be more terrifying. At the same time, it also showed that Zhuge Mingyang didn't have much confidence in opening the third level of the Gate of Potential. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come to auction the potential pill. Similarly, it was also not beyond Qin Feiyang's expectation. When Zhuge Mingyang opened his mouth, the princes didn't say anything for a long time. Fatso said in surprise, "They really don't want to compete?" If it were me, I wouldn't compete either. Qin Feiyang said. Whether it was talent or intelligence, this person was a monstrous existence. In the past, he followed the eldest prince and the other princes couldn't do anything about it. But now that the eldest prince was dead, these princes would definitely think of ways to win him over. So, they would rather not have this potential pill than offend Zhuge Mingyang. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Seeing that the auction house was silent, Sun Dahai frowned and asked loudly. He was a little troubled. He thought that Zhuge Mingyang's bid would change the situation, but he didn't expect that the princes would directly give up the bid. Of course. He also understood the reason behind this. It was just that he really couldn't accept the price. But after waiting for a long time, no one said anything. Sigh. Sun Dahai couldn't help but sigh. Today was really a bad start. Since no one else wants to bid, then I'll announce the result. The final winner of the potential pill is Zhuge, Sun Dahai announced in a loud voice. But at this moment, a voice that seemed to be too weak to even stand up to the wind rang out, 280 billion. When this voice sounded, a trace of surprise crept onto everyone's face. Chapter 735. At the same time. In a certain VIP room. Zhuge Mingyang could not help but frown. As Qin Feiyang expected, he was determined to get this potential pill. He also had full confidence that as long as he opened his mouth, no one would dare to fight with him. However, he had never expected that someone would suddenly appear out of nowhere. 281 billion. Zhuge Mingyang hesitated for a moment and slowly opened his mouth. The highest bidder wins. This was the rule of the treasure pavilion. Even if he was once the #1 genius of the imperial capital, he could not violate this rule. 285 billion. That weak and powerless voice rang out again. And he increased the price by 9 billion in one go. It seemed that he was determined to get it. At this moment, everyone looked at the VIP room where the voice came from. The transparent floor-to-ceiling window could clearly see the scene outside, but the people outside could not see the scene inside. Everyone was guessing, who was this person? Why did he have the intention to target Zhuge Mingyang? At the same time, Fatso, Li Li, and Li Rong also looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion. Because the person who bid was Qin Feiyang. They could not understand, Qin Feiyang did not lack the potential pill at all. And this potential pill originally came from Qin Feiyang. Why was he competing with Zhuge Mingyang now? Was there any meaning? But Qin Feiyang did not explain. Looking at the VIP room where Zhuge Mingyang was, his eyes flashed. 285 billion. There was a moment of silence. Zhuge Mingyang's voice rang out again. 300 billion. Qin Feiyang said without hesitation. 300 billion. Hearing this number, the people in the auction house were shocked. 300 billion gold coins, for most people, was already an astronomical figure. But this person did not hesitate before bidding. Could it be that he was another disciple of a martial marquis? But even if he was a disciple of a martial marquis, he might not be able to afford this astronomical price. But Sun Dahai was very excited. No matter who the bidder was, as long as he could make money, it was fine. He had a feeling that the price would continue to skyrocket. But at this moment, Zhuge Mingyang's voice rang out. I give up. Give up. Sun Dahai was stunned. His current mood could be said to be extremely puzzled. He had thought that Zhuge Mingyang would fight to the end. Who would have thought that he would give up so easily? But that was fine, at least it was higher than the previous price. He coughed dryly and asked loudly, 300 billion, anyone else? 301 million. The voice of the second prince rang out again. Previously, he didn't fight for it because he was giving face to Zhuge Mingyang. Now that Zhuge Mingyang had given up, he naturally wouldn't miss this opportunity, 310 billion. However, Qin Feiyang didn't even think about it and continued to bid. Still bidding? Looks like he's not targeting Zhuge Mingyang. Everyone mumbled. In the meantime, the second prince frowned and said in a deep voice, Your Excellency, just take it as giving this prince face and giving me this potential pill. 310, 1 billion. From his tone, one could tell that the price had already exceeded his limit. However, Qin Feiyang remained unmoved, and said, 320 billion. Another bid of 10 billion. Pa! Immediately. In the second prince's VIP room, the sound of a table being slammed could be heard. It was obvious that he was extremely angry. Similarly, he didn't bid anymore. Because he could no longer afford this price. Sun Dahai suppressed his excitement and asked, 320 billion, is there anyone else who wants to bid? Although this price didn't double as he had expected, compared to the previous auction price, it was 100 billion higher. He was satisfied. In the end, no one raised the price again. After all, even the princes couldn't afford this price, let alone others. After Sun Dahai announced the result, Qin Feiyang let Fatso pay. Very soon. Fatso brought the potential pill back to the VIP room and complained, spending so much money to buy a useless potential pill, Fat Lord doesn't even know what you're thinking. After saying that, he threw the potential pill to Qin Feiyang like trash. Qin Feiyang caught it in his hand and smiled meaningfully. Who said it's useless? What do you mean? Fatso was surprised. Li Li and Li Rong also looked at him curiously. Qin Feiyang didn't explain and said to Fatso, Go and invite the princes here, tell them that I want to give them a big gift. You want to give them the potential pill? Li Rong was surprised. A bright light flashed in Li Li's eyes as he smiled and said, Little sister, you don't understand. Brother Qin has an ulterior motive. The potential pill is just a bait to lure the various princes over. Bait? Fatso looked at Li Li, then looked at Qin Feiyang, as if he suddenly thought of something, and a sinister smile appeared in his eyes. Boss, you're really sinister. Alright, just you wait. Fat Lord will go and invite them. Fatso chuckled and hurriedly ran out. The auction outside was still going on. Qin Feiyang looked at Sun Dahai on the auction stage and muttered to himself, This time, you've gotten a huge bargain. If it wasn't for dealing with the princes, he wouldn't have bid for the potential pill, and the price of the potential pill wouldn't have soared to more than 300 billion. However, as long as the plan succeeded, it was worth it to lose these gold coins. Dong. Soon. A knock on the door sounded. You're here? Qin Feiyang muttered, sorted out his mood, and said, Come in. The door was pushed open, and a black-armored guard took the lead and walked into the VIP room. Behind the guard, there was a young man in a python robe. He was about 20 years old, and had an imposing appearance. And behind the young man in the python robe, there was also a black-armored guard. After the three of them entered the room, the guard in front retreated to the side. The young man in the python robe sized up Qin Feiyang and the Li siblings, and said, May I ask, which one of you is looking for this prince? Me. Qin Feiyang stood up and said. The young man in the python robe asked, Who are you? Is there something you need from this prince? Your Highness, please wait for a moment. Please take a seat. Qin Feiyang pointed to the seat next to him and said with a faint smile. The young man in the python robe frowned. This prince doesn't have time to waste with you. If you have something to say it quickly. Do you really think you're something? Qin Feiyang secretly sneered, and said indifferently, Since your Highness doesn't have time, then please go back. But this potential pill. At this point, he returned to his seat and lowered his head to play with the potential pill in his hand. Seeing the potential pill, the young man in the python robe's eyes suddenly lit up, and then he smiled and sat opposite Qin Feiyang. The two guards also stood behind him, looking at Qin Feiyang and the other two warily. The young man in the python robe cupped his hands and said with a smile, I'm the 15th prince, may I know your name? So this is my 15th brother. Qin Feiyang muttered and smiled. Your Highness, please don't be impatient. When the guests are all here, I will naturally introduce myself. There's someone else? The 15th prince frowned. Dong. Before he finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. Please come in. Qin Feiyang said. The door opened, and another young man in a python robe and 2 black armored guards strode into the room. It was the 9th prince. 9th brother? 15th brother? Seeing that the 15th prince was also here, the 9th prince was immediately stunned. Seeing that the 9th prince was also here, the 15th prince was also stunned. Please take a seat. Qin Feiyang stood up and pointed at the empty seat next to the 15th prince, smiling at the 9th prince. What's going on? The 9th prince was confused. After a while, the other princes also arrived one after another. Only the 2nd prince was not there yet. The 3rd prince looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously and said, Why did you call all of us here? Your Highness, don't worry. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Creak. At this moment, the door opened again. Fatso walked in with the 2nd prince and his 2 guards. 2nd brother is also here? All the princes frowned. Why are you all here? The 2nd prince could not help but raise his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. He then turned to the princes and said with a smile, There are limited seats, so I can't let everyone sit. Please forgive me. The 4th prince said impatiently, If you have something to say it quickly. Don't waste our time. Then I'll introduce myself first. I'm Wang Hao from the Black Dragon City. I'm a 4-star battle grandmaster. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. The Black Dragon City was also located in the imperial capital. It was a medium-sized city, but it was very far from the capital. Qin Feiyang had only heard of it but had never been there. The 2nd prince asked curiously, Since Brother Wang is from the Black Dragon City, why did you come to our capital? Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and sighed, It's a bit difficult to talk about this. The 2nd prince said, If it's difficult to talk about, then don't talk about it. Just tell us your purpose. Well, Qin Feiyang hesitated, glanced at the black armored guards, and said, Can you ask them to leave for a while? With these guards there, he could not do anything at all. But hearing his pleading, all the princes frowned for a moment. Qin Feiyang said, Everyone, what I'm going to say next is very important. Even if it's your confidence, you'd better not let them know. So mysterious? The princes were stunned. The 2nd prince waved to the 2 guards behind him and said, You guys go out first. Your Highness, you can't. Yeah, this person's background is unknown. We have to be careful. The 2 guards hurriedly sent sound transmissions. It's fine. The 2nd prince waved his hand. You know, this was the capital, and it was also the main pavilion of the treasure pavilion. Who would dare to cause trouble here? Moreover, they were all princes, who would dare to harm them? One of the guards secretly said, Then we'll guard outside the door. If there's anything, call us. The 2nd prince nodded. Then, the 2 guards glanced at Qin Feiyang, then turned around and walked out. The 2nd prince's guards left, and the other princes also let their guards go out. Qin Feiyang looked at Fatso and said, Go close the door. All right. Fatso shouted, turned around and ran to the door, stuck his head out to look at both sides of the door, and then closed it. Then, he walked to Qin Feiyang's side and quietly sent a sound transmission. They're all guarding the door, what should we do? Kill them all. Qin Feiyang thought. Are you crazy? They're right outside. If there's any movement, they'll hear it. At that time, even if we can kill the princes, we won't be able to escape. Chapter 736. Then what do you think we should do? We lost more than 300 billion to invite them here. We can't just let it go like this, right? Qin Feiyang said. Fatso said, but this is too risky. They are the sons of the emperor. How can there be no risk in killing them? Act according to the situation later. As long as I make a move, you immediately open a portal. Qin Feiyang secretly instructed. All right. Fatso replied. Now that the arrow was on the bow, it had to be released. The second prince urged, hurry up and say it. Qin Feiyang raised his arm and released his fingers. The potential pill immediately appeared in front of the princes. Immediately. Everyone's eyes lit up, full of desire. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, actually, I didn't snatch the potential pill for myself, but to give it to your highness. For us? The princes looked at each other. That's right. This is my first time in the capital and I'm unfamiliar with the place, so I would like to ask your highness to take care of me in the future. Qin Feiyang said. The princes suddenly realized that he was trying to curry favor with them. The second prince said playfully, we have seen your sincerity, but how are we going to split this potential pill? Qin Feiyang said, then according to your highness, how should we split this potential pill? The second prince smiled and said, that will depend on your choice. In other words, Qin Feiyang could only choose one person. Hearing your highness' words, it seems that I really have to think about it. Qin Feiyang furrowed his brows as he sized up the princes. The princes also looked at Qin Feiyang expectantly. After all, this was a big bargain. Who didn't want it? In the end, Qin Feiyang chuckled and said, after thinking about it, I still feel that it's more appropriate to choose your highness, the second prince. The second prince smiled. However, the faces of the other princes darkened. Qin Feiyang said, everyone, don't be anxious. Although I don't have the potential pill, I have prepared a greeting gift for everyone. The 15th prince snorted coldly and said, what kind of meeting gift can compare to the potential pill? Your highness is right. It is indeed incomparable to the potential pill, but it is still a rare treasure. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. Qin Feiyang smiled and walked up to the second prince, offering the potential pill with both hands. The second prince chuckled as he grabbed the potential elixir. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang abruptly raised his head, and two sharp beams of light shot out from his eyes. Following closely, a red sword aura shot out from his fingertip and entered the second prince's glabella. Ah! A painful scream suddenly exploded in the auction house. What's the situation? Everyone was bewildered. Sun Dahai, who was in the auction house, immediately stopped the auction and looked at Qin Feiyang's VIP room in surprise. In the meantime, inside the VIP room, the third prince and the others were also glaring at the second prince, who had fallen to the ground, in disbelief. Fatso also opened a portal. In the blink of an eye. After killing the second prince, Qin Feiyang grabbed the potential elixir and looked at the third prince and the others, murderous intent overflowing from his eyes. Whoosh! With a wave of his hand, more than a dozen sword auras appeared and entered the glabella of the princes. Immediately, blood splattered across the sky. The screams shocked everyone. Qin Feiyang sneered and said, this is my gift to all of you. Are you satisfied? Bang! Before he finished speaking, the door was forced open. The black armored guards guarding outside swarmed into the VIP room. When they saw the situation of the princes, their expressions changed drastically. Fatso shouted, boss, let's go. Qin Feiyang glanced at those black armored guards, then took a step forward and directly entered the teleportation gate. Li Li and Li Rong also hurriedly got up and rushed into the portal. One of the guards suddenly came back to his senses and shouted, stop them. Qin Feiyang raised the corner of his mouth and said with a cold smile, go back and tell the emperor and the state preceptor that I, Qin Feiyang, will be back sooner or later. This sentence resounded throughout the auction house, with strong hatred and murderous intent. What? There was no suspense. The auction house was in an uproar. You are the 14th prince? The guards also looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Other than me, who else could it be? Qin Feiyang smiled coldly, and his figure disappeared without a trace. Crack. Just as Qin Feiyang left, the floor-to-ceiling window shattered. Two figures rushed in like lightning and landed in the VIP room. It was Sun Dahai and Zhuge Mingyang. Looking at the princes lying in a pool of blood, their faces were filled with horror. At the same time, the people outside also flew into the air and looked at the princes' corpses in horror. Qin Feiyang actually appeared again, and he even killed all the princes. Wasn't this person too crazy? Where is he? After Zhuge Mingyang came back to his senses, he looked at the guards with a gloomy look. He escaped. One of the guards said. Zhuge Mingyang said angrily, he killed so many princes, and you actually let him escape. Do you know what the consequences are? The guards wanted to say something but stopped. Their faces were full of horror. Although this matter was not their fault, it was their fault for not protecting their master well. If the emperor pursued this matter, none of them would be able to live. So many of you can't even stop one Qin Feiyang. You are all good-for-nothings and useless. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and inform the commander. Zhuge Mingyang clenched his fists and shouted angrily. Yes, yes, yes. One of the guards quickly took out a video crystal and sent a message to the commander of the Invincible Black Army. Zhuge Mingyang turned to Sun Dahai and said gloomily, this matter happened in your Zhenbao pavilion. I'm afraid your Zhenbao pavilion can't escape the blame. Sun Dahai frowned. It seemed that he was dissatisfied with Zhuge Mingyang, but he didn't refute. Because it was the truth. Although he didn't know that Qin Feiyang had sneaked into Zhenbao pavilion, it was an undeniable fact that all the princes had died here. If the emperor didn't pursue this matter, it would be fine. If the emperor pursued this matter, he might not be able to keep his life. Alas. This bastard really knows how to harm people. What did you say? Qin Feiyang killed the second prince and the others again? Oh my god, this person is too scary. He is still wanted. How can he come out to kill people again? Isn't he afraid of being caught? Crazy, really crazy. This matter spread from 1 to 10, from 10 to 100, and soon it became a hot topic in the capital city. No matter who heard this news, they were all shocked and frightened. It was already shocking enough that he had killed the first prince, caused havoc in the imperial palace, and challenged the emperor. Now, he had killed all the 12 princes again. This Qin Feiyang was really a person that couldn't be offended. Meanwhile, in the imperial palace, after the commander of the Invincible Black Army received the news, he went to see the emperor immediately. However, the emperor didn't have much of a reaction. On the other hand, the state preceptor was so angry that he stomped his feet in the throne room. He looked at the emperor and bowed, Your Majesty, this Qin Feiyang is too arrogant. We must find a way to punish him as soon as possible. Otherwise, we don't know what will happen next. The Grand Commander nodded and said, The state preceptor is right. First it was His Highness the Crown Prince, and now it's Second Highness and the others. If this continues, I'm afraid that even the princesses and the princes who are still underage will be killed by him. The state preceptor said, That's what I'm worried about. Commander, do you have any good ideas? According to my investigation, although Qin Feiyang is cold and ruthless to outsiders, he is still very loyal to his friends. Why don't we use his friends as bait and force him to come out? The commander thought for a moment and said. The state preceptor's eyes lit up and asked, Who are his friends? As far as I know, Lu Xingchen, Ren Wushuang, Dong Zhengyang, Shen Mei, Ling Yu, Zhao Yu, Feng Ranran, and Luo Dan have the best relationship with him. There is also a person called Tan Wu. I heard that Qin Feiyang likes him very much and has always wanted to take him under his command. The commander said. Okay. Immediately take people to catch all of them for me. The state preceptor said. But at this moment, the emperor, who had been silent, said, I don't agree. The state preceptor and the commander both looked at the emperor. To deal with a war master, we still have to use his friends to threaten him. If word gets out, where will the face of the royal family go? The emperor said expressionlessly. The state preceptor said, Your Majesty, the situation is different now. If there is another way, I will not do this. Since you know it's a bad idea, then you shouldn't do it. In short, I won't agree. You are not allowed to secretly attack them behind my back. The emperor said. The state preceptor's eyes flashed, and he bowed and said, Then Your Majesty, please indicate how we should catch Qin Feiyang. This is your business. Think about it yourself. After saying that, the emperor got up and disappeared in an instant. I guess that Your Majesty still has a trace of feelings for Qin Feiyang. The state preceptor's eyes darkened. You can't blame Your Majesty for this. After all, no matter what, Qin Feiyang is also Your Majesty's flesh and blood. He was once the son he was most proud of and cared about the most. The commander sighed. That little bastard has become like this. What else is there to care about? You, go and arrest Lu Xingqian and the others. The state preceptor ordered. The commander was stunned and hurriedly said, State preceptor, Your Majesty has clearly said that we can't attack them, just do it. If Your Majesty pursues responsibility, I will bear it alone. The state preceptor said. This is not a matter of bearing responsibility. This is a crime of disobedience. The commander said. The state preceptor's eyes were cold, and he said, If you don't go, I will let the law enforcers of the temple do it. Law enforcers. The commander's body trembled, and he nodded and said, Okay, we will do as the state preceptor said, but I have a small condition. Say it. The state preceptor said. You can arrest them, but don't hurt them. After all, they only have a good relationship with Qin Feiyang. There is nothing else. The commander said. Do I need you to say that? If Qin Feiyang really does not save them, I will definitely let them go. The state preceptor said. Well, I will do it right away. The commander breathed a sigh of relief, turned around, and strode out. Qin Feiyang, you'll never be able to escape from this old man's grasp. That dagger, I am determined to get it. Chapter 737. Divine Palace. A golden figure appeared out of thin air. It was the great commander. Following closely, black armored guards appeared above the Pill Hall and Martial Arts Hall. There were 20 of them, and the aura they emitted was unfathomable. Go down. The great commander shouted coldly. His voice was as loud as a bell. Whoosh. Immediately, those black armored guards rushed into the Pill Hall and Martial Arts Hall like lightning. What's going on? Why are there so many invincible black army? Looking at the black armored guards that looked like divine soldiers descending from the heavens, the disciples of the Temple of Light were bewildered. After a while, Lu Xingqian, Ren Wuxuang, Shen Mei, Tan Wu, Dong Zhengyang, Ling Yu, and the others were brought to the great commander. They, too, were baffled by this. However, Lu Xingqian could vaguely guess. He looked at the great commander, cupped his hands and asked, Sir, did we do anything wrong? No. The great commander shook his head. Lu Xingqian said, Sir, since we didn't do anything wrong, why did you bring us here? Ren Wuxuang and the others were also confused. Follow me to a place first. The great commander waved his hand, and a portal opened. Dong Zhengyang transmitted his voice, Look at him. He doesn't seem to be friendly. Lu Xingqian's eyes flashed. He said to himself, Don't be rash. Let's observe the situation first. Let's go. After speaking, he took the lead and stepped into the portal. Dong Zhengyang and the others looked at each other and walked in one after another. Immediately, the Grand Commander also led the 20 guards into the teleportation gate. Soon, everyone appeared in an unfamiliar place. Below them was a vast mountain range. They couldn't see the end of it. The mountain range was high and low, and the peaks were stacked on top of each other. The mountain stream was filled with towering trees, and the thick vines were entangled like dragons. At the same time, everyone could still feel a terrifying aura from the mountain stream. Where is this? Lu Xingchen and the others were confused. Suddenly, Dong Zhengyang pointed to a place in front and said in surprise, "Look, there's an ancient castle." Everyone looked over. There was a giant mountain that was several thousand feet tall standing in the middle of the mountain. On top of the mountain, there was an ancient castle. The castle was huge and towered into the clouds. It was completely black like ink and emitted a mysterious and cold aura. And on the front of the castle, there were two big words carved in blood. God's prison. Looking at these two words, Lu Xingchen's gaze trembled. He couldn't help but feel an uneasy premonition. Immediately, he then sent a voice transmission to Dong Zhengyang and the others, exhorting them, "Everyone, you must be careful because this is the back mountain of the imperial palace. Qin Feiyang's mother is now imprisoned in this divine prison." What? The group of people was shocked. Why did the commander of the invincible Black Army bring them to the divine prison? You don't have to be nervous. I brought you here because I want you to do something for me. As long as you do as I say obediently, I will let you go immediately. The Grand Commander said. One thing? Is it because of Qin Feiyang? Lu Xingchen furrowed his brows slightly, but did not ask directly. Because sometimes, you can't be too smart. He looked at the Grand Commander suspiciously and asked, "What is it?" "I believe you already know that Qin Feiyang killed the second prince and the others." The Grand Commander said. Yes. Lu Xingchen and the others nodded. Although this matter had just happened, it caused a huge commotion, so it was immediately spread in the divine palace. To tell you the truth, His Majesty is very angry now. The imperial preceptor even gave the order for me to capture you all and use you all to threaten Qin Feiyang. The Grand Commander said. Lu Xingchen frowned and said, "So, you brought us here?" "That's right. But I also know that this matter has nothing to do with you. So, as long as you are willing to cooperate with me and persuade Qin Feiyang to come back and surrender, nothing will happen. On the contrary, if you are not willing to cooperate, then I will have to throw you into the divine prison to lure Qin Feiyang here." The Grand Commander was very straightforward and could be considered an open and above-board person. But hearing this, Ren Wuxuang and the others obviously showed a trace of dissatisfaction. "Calm down." Lu Xingchen saw this and secretly comforted them. Then, he looked at the Grand Commander and sighed. "Lord Commander, our relationship with Qin Feiyang is indeed not bad. However, it hasn't reached the point where we will live and die together. I don't think he will listen to our advice." The Grand Commander's eyes were slightly cold. "How do you know if you haven't tried?" "Well, I'll try." Lu Xingchen sighed helplessly, took out the image crystal, and poured his battle qi into it. At the same time, his eyes flashed slightly, and he carefully asked, "May I ask, does the Emperor know about this matter?" The Grand Commander's face suddenly darkened, and he shouted, "This is not something you should ask." Lu Xingchen's face changed, and he hurriedly lowered his head and said, Sorry, I said too much, please forgive me." But an imperceptible light flashed across his eyes. At the same time, on the mountain peak near the Black Dragon Pool, Qin Feiyang and Fatso had already taken the facial restoration pill and restored their true appearance. Lili asked with a smile, "Brother Qin, what are your plans now?" Fatso raised his eyebrows, and said, "What plans do we have? Does it have anything to do with you?" "Not necessarily." Lili chuckled. Fatso was taken aback, and frowned. "What do you mean?" Lili smiled but did not say anything. Qin Feiyang also turned around, looked at Lili and Li Rong, and said, "Tell me, who are you?" Lili was about to speak. At this moment, Qin Feiyang's image crystal rang. He took out the image crystal and merged a wisp of battle qi into it. Immediately, Lu Xingchen and the others appeared, including the Grand Commander of the Invincible Black Army. Seeing that Lu Xingchen and the others were with the Grand Commander, Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. Lu Xingchen asked, "Brother Qin, where are you now?" As he spoke, he winked at Qin Feiyang. After being together for so long, Qin Feiyang knew Lu Xingchen very well. He immediately understood and said indifferently, "Where I am has something to do with you?" "Indeed, it has nothing to do with you. But because of you, we were all captured by the Grand Commander. If you don't come back and turn yourself in, I'm afraid we'll be in big trouble. Brother Qin, in any case, we're friends. You can't implicate us." Lu Xingchen said. "Friends? I can't afford to be friends with you." Qin Feiyang sneered, then looked at the Grand Commander and mocked, "You want to capture a few cats and dogs to threaten me, Qin Feiyang? Aren't you looking down on me too much? Is that so?" A cold light flashed in the Grand Commander's eyes. His index finger shot out and a wisp of battle chi entered Lu Xingchen's chest like lightning. Lu Xingchen's body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. And there was a bloody hole the size of a thumb in his chest. But it didn't hurt his heart. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang's hands, which were hidden in his sleeves, couldn't help but clench tightly. But his expression didn't change at all. Obviously, he was cold and ruthless. "You really don't care?" The Grand Commander raised his eyebrows and looked at Ren Wuxuang and the others. "If you don't come back, I will kill them all." After saying that, with a wave of his hand, several wisps of battle chi emerged and entered the chests of Ren Wuxuang and the others. Suddenly, blood dyed the sky. Bastard! Fatso also clenched his fists tightly, and a strong killing intent emerged in his heart. Qin Feiyang secretly said, "Don't be impulsive, he's just testing us." Fatso said, "Fat Lord knows that he's testing us, but we can't let him off." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a shocking light. He looked at the Grand Commander and said indifferently, "I don't have time to waste with you. If you want to kill them, go ahead." After saying that, he directly turned off the image crystal, and his face immediately became gloomy. "Boss, why don't we sneak into the Imperial Palace again and have a good time?" Fatso's face was incomparably gloomy. "Heard of it?" Lili frowned slightly and said hesitantly, "That. Can I say a few words?" "Speak." Fatso shouted without worry. "I believe that Lu Xingchen has already told you about the strength of the Imperial Preceptor. Your space divine item can't escape the search of his divine sense. If you sneak into the Imperial Palace now, to put it bluntly, you're digging your own grave." Lili said. Fatso said angrily, "But we can't let them hurt Ren Wuxuang and the others." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said, "It doesn't matter. Even if they have this idea, I'm afraid they can't do it." "What do you mean?" Fatso was suspicious. "Do you think that Lu Xingchen is a person who will sit still and wait for death? If the Grand Commander really wants to kill them, he can enter the space divine item and take everyone away from the Imperial Palace." Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Fatso was stunned, and suddenly said, "That's right, his space divine item can move." In other words, as long as Lu Xingchen was there, they didn't need to worry at all. Whoosh! At this moment, a black figure appeared in the sky above the Black Dragon Swamp. This person had a dignified appearance. His 7-foot body was tall and straight like an iron pine. He held a folding fan in his hand and looked very elegant. Qin Feiyang immediately sensed this person's aura. When he looked up, his pupils suddenly shrank. Because this person was Zhuge Mingyang. How did he know we were here? After Fatso finished speaking, he looked at Li Li and Li Rong unkindly. Li Li hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Don't mess around. We didn't leak any information." Zhuge Mingyang looked around and immediately saw Qin Feiyang and the others. "You're really here." He closed his folding fan and took a step forward. In an instant, he landed on the peak of the mountain, and his aura firmly locked onto Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang said, "You can even guess that. I really admire your brain more and more. I just suddenly remembered that we worked together to kill the 13th prince in the Black Dragon Swamp. So, I wanted to come here to try my luck. I didn't expect to meet you here. What are your last words? Tell me quickly." Zhuge Mingyang said. Last words? Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. There's only one thing that puzzles me. Why do you care so much about the first prince? There are some things that you'd better not know. Zhuge Mingyang's eyes turned cold. He put the folding fan back at his waist and took a step toward Qin Feiyang. Boom! At the same time. Chapter 738. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang's expression suddenly changed, and he shouted, "Hurry up and leave." Shwa! The four of them jumped down without hesitation and quickly fell down. Zhuge Mingyang was a 9-star war sect. As for Qin Feiyang and the other three, Fatso had already broken through to the 3-star war sect, and Qin Feiyang was a 4-star war sect. The auras that Li Li and Li Rong revealed were only 1-star war sect. With their cultivation, even if the four of them worked together, they wouldn't have any chance of winning. They could only run. You want to escape? Zhuge Mingyang laughed in disdain, and with a mysterious footwork, he chased after them like a divine rainbow. His speed was actually 4 times faster than before. Li Rong exclaimed, "Perfect support technique." At the same time, Qin Feiyang's heart sank. As the most monstrous figure in the great Qin Empire, it wasn't strange for him to possess a perfect support technique. But now, facing Zhuge Mingyang, who was filled with killing intent, they didn't even have the chance to escape. Die. With the cultivation of a 9-star war sect, coupled with the perfect support technique, Zhuge Mingyang's speed was not something that Qin Feiyang and the other three could compare to. In the blink of an eye, he had caught up to Qin Feiyang. Killing intent surged in his eyes as he punched out. "Boss!" Fatso shouted, and without any hesitation, he stood in front of Qin Feiyang. "You're very loyal." Zhuge Mingyang laughed coldly. Seeing that Zhuge Mingyang's fist was about to land on Fatso's body, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and brought Fatso into the castle without hesitation. After all, the difference in strength was too great. There was no need to continue fighting. The moment the two of them disappeared, Zhuge Mingyang's expression immediately became sinister. Shwa! In a flash, he caught up to Li Rong and grabbed her neck. Li Li's expression changed on the spot, and he shouted, "Let her go." However, Zhuge Mingyang didn't seem to hear her. He stood in the void, glanced around, and shouted, "Qin Feiyang, come out right now, or I'll kill her." "How dare you!" Li Li bellowed. "Even the princes have to be courteous to me, let alone killing a nobody." Zhuge Mingyang smiled coldly. His 5 fingers suddenly tightened and crushed Li Rong's neck. Fresh blood instantly dyed the sky red. Shwa! Looking at this scene, Li Li gritted his teeth and rushed towards Zhuge Mingyang like a madman. "You're courting death." At this moment, Zhuge Mingyang was like a terrifying, murderous demon king. Whoosh! He turned around and stretched out his hand. His 5 fingers curved like an eagle's claw and grabbed at Li Li's head. "Stop!" At this moment, Qin Feiyang came out. The corner of Zhuge Mingyang's mouth lifted. His arm turned in the air and grabbed Li Li's throat. He then turned to look at Qin Feiyang and sneered, "I thought you didn't care about them." As for Li Li, he was only a 1-star battle ancestor. How could he be Zhuge Mingyang's opponent? His throat was grabbed by Zhuge Mingyang and he didn't have the slightest strength to resist. Qin Feiyang glanced at Zhuge Mingyang and looked at Li Li. "What did you call her just now?" Shwa! Li Li gritted his teeth and his face was filled with grief. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, "Tell me, who exactly are you?" Who are we? Li Li muttered to himself and looked at Qin Feiyang. He howled, aren't you very smart? Do you still need me to tell you? It really is you. Mu Qing, Mu Shua, Qin Feiyang's face was gloomy to the extreme. Previously in the castle, when he heard Li Li call out the name Shua, he suspected that it might be the Mu Qing siblings. He didn't expect it to be these two people. But he couldn't understand why these two people would walk together with Lu Xingchen. Back then. Was it Lu Xingchen who schemed against him in the 9 Nether Yellow Springs? Hearing the conversation between Qin Feiyang and looking at their expressions, Zhuge Mingyang couldn't help but frown, and said, aren't you friends? Friends? Qin Feiyang sneered, looked at Zhuge Mingyang and said indifferently, if you want to kill me, do as you wish. Shua. Finished. He disappeared without a trace. What's going on? Zhuge Mingyang was a little confused and didn't know what to do for a moment. In the past, I schemed against him many times and almost caused him to lose his life. Now, I'm afraid he can't wait to kill me with his own hands. How can he be my friend? Mu Qing mocked. Zhuge Mingyang raised his eyebrows, murderous intent surging in his eyes, and said, in that case, it's useless to keep you alive. Want to kill me? You don't have the ability. Mu Qing grinned hideously. A peerlessly terrifying aura suddenly rushed out of his body. As soon as this aura appeared, the earth trembled and the void distorted. Even Zhuge Mingyang couldn't help but feel a chill all over his body. Without hesitation, he quickly let go of Mu Qing and the dead Mu Shua, and retreated quickly. Clang! Just as Zhuge Mingyang retreated, a blood-red light burst out from between Mu Qing's eyebrows. It was actually a palm-sized stone door. The stone door was blood-red all over, suspended above Mu Qing's head, as if stained with blood, emitting a shocking aura. Zhuge Mingyang's eyes were full of shock and bewilderment. Mu Qing glared at Zhuge Mingyang coldly, then swooped down and hugged the dead Mu Shua, Shua, I'm sorry, I should have taken out the space-time gate earlier, then you wouldn't have died. It's all my fault. Looking at Mu Shua's pale face, Mu Qing's face was full of self-blame. Space-time gate? Zhuge Mingyang frowned. Swoosh. All of a sudden, Mu Qing raised his head and looked at Zhuge Mingyang. His eyes were red, like a mad beast. Zhuge Mingyang, right? Just you wait, sooner or later I'll make you pay with your blood. Space-time gate, awaken. He roared, and a blood-red stream of qi rushed out of his body. This was the qi and blood in his body. It was also the combination of battle qi and blood. As soon as the qi and blood appeared, they continuously rushed toward the stone gate. The stone gate was also crazily absorbing Mu Qing's qi and blood. As it absorbed more and more qi and blood, the stone gate gradually began to grow, and the aura it emitted became stronger and stronger. Not only was Zhuge Mingyang unable to get close, but he was also forced to retreat. However, Mu Qing's body was undergoing earth-shaking changes. His face was becoming old. The flesh and blood in his body were being hollowed out. Soon, he became a skinny old man with a face full of wrinkles. Still can't be awakened? He looked at the stone gate that was constantly growing bigger and muttered to himself. His eyes were dim and lifeless. Suddenly, he roared, Qin Feiyang, come out and help me if you don't want to die. Swoosh. Qin Feiyang appeared. Looking at Mu Qing and the stone gate at this moment, his eyes were full of surprise and doubt. But he didn't help. Mu Qing shouted anxiously, I can take you out of the capital. Out of the capital. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He did want to leave the capital. But at the same time, this was also the most troublesome problem for him now. Because there was only one way to leave the capital. That was through the teleportation altar in the pagoda. However, Elder Qin was guarding the pagoda. And Elder Qin's strength was unfathomable. Moreover, the back mountain was the forbidden area of the imperial palace, and there were powerhouses guarding the entrance. He couldn't find a chance to enter the back mountain at all. So, now that he heard Mu Qing say that he could leave the capital, he couldn't help but be tempted. But he didn't know if he should believe the person who had schemed against him before. I'm really not lying to you. As long as it's in the Great Qin Empire, I can do it wherever you want to go. Seeing that Qin Feiyang was indifferent, Mu Qing was burning with anxiety and roared. Okay. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and finally chose to believe Mu Qing this time. Whoosh! He took a step forward and rushed toward Mu Qing. But the aura emitted by the stone door directly sent him flying. That feeling was as if he had been hit by a huge mountain. His body was about to fall apart, and blood kept spurting out. Boom! Qin Feiyang's eyes suddenly burst with strong murderous intent, and he said sternly, "Even now, you still want to trick me. Don't misunderstand. I was careless. Now you can try again." After Mu Qing finished speaking, her mind moved slightly, and the invisible aura in front of Qin Feiyang disappeared into thin air. Qin Feiyang tentatively took a step forward. Seeing that there was no resistance at all, he flew toward Mu Qing with ease. Stop! But at the same time, Zhuge Mingyang roared and chased after Qin Feiyang. Get lost! Mu Qing roared angrily, and the invisible aura appeared out of thin air again, directly forcing Zhuge Mingyang back. Qin Feiyang turned around and looked at Zhuge Mingyang in surprise. The aura appeared, but he was not affected at all. Could it be that Mu Qing could control these auras as she wanted? Hurry up, I can't hold on any longer. Mu Qing roared. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang turned his head, and in a few blinks of an eye, he landed beside Mu Qing. Looking at the stone door, he frowned and said, "What should I do?" "The same as me," Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyang did not hesitate. His body shook, and a stream of qi and blood rushed out of his body and rushed toward the stone door. Immediately, his face was full of horror. When the qi and blood rushed into the stone door, he immediately felt that the stone door was like a bottomless pit. And the stone door began to actively absorb the qi and blood in his body. He looked at the stone door, and a terrifying name appeared in his mind. He suddenly turned to Mu Qing and said in surprise, "Your stone door is a divine weapon?" "That's right." Mu Qing nodded. "Bastard, are you crazy?" Qin Feiyang was furious. Without hesitation, he took Wolf King, Fatso, Lu Hong, the pangolin, and the black dragon snake out of the castle. "Hurry up and revive the stone door with us," Qin Feiyang shouted. In the blink of an eye, he seemed to have aged more than 10 years. More than half of the qi and blood in his body had been absorbed by the stone door. Seeing this, Fatso and the others were also surprised, but they did not ask anything. They immediately urged their qi and blood to rush toward the stone door. Divine weapon, at the same time. Zhuge Mingyang, who was standing in the distance, also looked at the stone door in shock. It's a divine weapon. Suddenly, he came to his senses and immediately took out the image crystal. A golden figure quickly materialized. It was the commander of the invincible Black Army. Without waiting for the Grand Commander to speak, Zhuge Mingyang hurriedly said, "Grand Commander, quickly come to the Black Dragon Pool. Qin Feiyang and the others are here. Moreover, they have a saint artifact in their hands." "What?" "They have a divine weapon." Chapter 739. See for yourself if you don't believe me. Zhuge Mingyang turned the image crystal to face Qin Feiyang and the others. Looking at the stone door, the Grand Commander's pupils constricted and he said, "Give me the coordinates." "Okay." Zhuge Mingyang nodded. Qin Feiyang and the others saw the message between Zhuge Mingyang and the Grand Commander. Mu Qing said anxiously, "Qin Feiyang, is there anyone else in your castle? Just Zhuge Mingyang alone was enough to make them unable to fight back. If the Grand Commander joined in, they would be doomed. No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. We're done for. With our cultivation, I'm afraid it'll be difficult to revive the space-time gate. We might even be sucked dry by the space-time gate and die. Mu Qing's eyes were filled with despair. What's the use of saying all this now? Let's work harder. Otherwise, we'll die in the hands of the Grand Commander before our blood is sucked dry by the space-time gate. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice. A sacred artifact was comparable to a 9-star battle saint. It required an extremely vast amount of battle chi and blood to revive. A 9-star battle saint was an invincible existence to Qin Feiyang and the others. Therefore, they were simply digging their own graves by reviving the space-time gate. At this moment, whether it was Qin Feiyang or Fatso and the others, they were all skin and bones. Their lives were in danger. To make matters worse, the Grand Commander came with a group of black-armored guards. The cultivation of each of these black-armored guards was comparable to Zhuge Mingyang. There were 50 to 60 of them. It's indeed a sacred artifact. As soon as the Grand Commander appeared and sensed the aura emitted by the space-time gate, his face was filled with horror. Zhuge Mingyang said, "Is there any way to stop them?" The Chief Commander shook his head and said, "I can't do it with my strength. I have to call the Chief Commander of the Kirin Army." After saying that, the commander of the Invincible Black Army took out an image crystal. General of the Kirin Army. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He looked at Mu Qing gloomily and said, "You've got us into big trouble this time." Mu Qing also looked bitter and helpless. If he had any other choice, he would not have come to the dimensional gate. Fatso asked, "Boss, is the commander of the Kirin Army very strong?" "Very strong. But I'm not too sure how strong they are. However, it is not hard to imagine that the commander of the Invincible Black Army would ask him for help. He must be a 9-star battle saint or even higher. Because only existences at this level have the strength to contend against sacred artifacts." Qin Feiyang said. A 9-star battle saint or even higher. Fatso and the others trembled. If this person came, wouldn't they be finished? What's the matter? Right at this moment, an imperious voice echoed in the rift. It was deafening like the chime of a giant bell. Qin Feiyang and the others looked over and saw a burly man standing above the image crystal of the Invincible Black Army's chief commander. This man was 8 feet tall and looked like a small giant. His upper body was exposed, revealing his well-developed chest muscles. His long red hair was fluttering behind his back. His whole body emitted a wild aura. "Come to the Black Dragon Pool quickly. Qin Feiyang has a sacred artifact." The chief commander of the Invincible Black Army told the burly man the coordinates. A sacred artifact. The burly man's eyes trembled. He immediately opened a portal and arrived at this place. This aura, he looked at the portal in surprise. His eyes lit up and he said excitedly, "It's really a sacred artifact." Seeing the chief commander of the Kirin Army come, Zhuge Mingyang was relieved. He cupped his hands and said, "Chief Commander, we can't let Qin Feiyang escape. As long as I'm here, he won't be able to escape even if he grows wings." The burly man smiled proudly. He stretched out his hand and a terrifying battle chi appeared. It rushed toward Qin Feiyang and the others. Wherever it passed, the void twisted crazily as if it was about to break. Seeing this, Fatso's face changed. He shouted anxiously, "Think of a way." Even the void was about to break. One could imagine how terrifying the battle chi was. Once they were submerged by the battle chi, they would definitely be crushed into pieces. There's no other way. We can only hide in the castle for now. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice. If it was in normal times, the castle would be the best place to hide. But it was different now. If they entered the castle now, they would be like a turtle in a jar. Because once they entered the castle, Zhuge Mingyang and the others would definitely call the imperial preceptor. The castle could escape the search of others, but it couldn't escape the search of the imperial preceptor's divine sense. At that time, they would only have a dead end. But now, there was no other choice. Could it be that we can only wait for death? Wolf King roared in the sky. His eyes were full of unwillingness. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply. This time, they had really reached a dead end. And all of this was brought about by Zhuge Mingyang. Swish. He raised his head and looked at Zhuge Mingyang. If I don't die, I will definitely come back to settle this score with you. Wait until you save your life. Zhuge Mingyang sneered. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a cold light. He was about to lead everyone into the castle. But at this moment, boom! A bright battle chi descended from the sky and poured into the space-time gate. Clang! In an instant, the space-time gate became more than 10 feet tall. It emitted a bloody light and released a shocking aura. And at the same time, the space-time gate also stopped absorbing the chi and blood of Qin Feiyang and the others. It's revived. Mu Qing was a little stunned. Who? At the same time, the commander of the Kirin army roared and looked up at the sky. Qin Feiyang and the others also raised their heads to look. They saw a blurry silhouette standing between the clouds. Who is he? Why is he helping us? Fatso was surprised. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, I can't see clearly. Don't care who it is. Let's go. Mu Qing came back to her senses and immediately carried Mu Shui into the space-time gate without looking back. Let's go. Qin Feiyang quivered and immediately led Fatso and the others. When the group entered the space-time gate, with a loud clang, the space-time gate shrunk rapidly and then disappeared into the void. Damn it! The two commanders were furious. With strong killing intent, they rushed toward the clouds at the same time. But before they could get close, the person standing among the clouds suddenly disappeared from their sight without warning. Who is it? Get out here for this commander. The two of them stood in the sky and roared. Their aura was like a torrent, surging in all directions. But after a while, the person did not appear again, and no one responded to them. Below, Zhuge Mingyang's face was also extremely gloomy. He thought that Qin Feiyang would not be able to escape this time, but he did not expect another mysterious person to appear at the critical moment. Even the two grand commanders were unable to capture that person's true appearance. From this, it could be seen how powerful this mysterious person was. He could not figure it out. What had Qin Feiyang done all these years? Why was there such a terrifying expert behind him? In the sky above a mountain range. Swoosh! Figures appeared out of thin air one after another. It was Qin Feiyang and the others. Where is this? The few of them scanned their surroundings in surprise. The mountain range was vast and boundless, with lush ancient trees and vines. In the mountain stream, they could sense the aura of countless fierce beasts. But the aura of these fierce beasts were not very strong. They were basically between the War Emperor and the War Master. Why does it look so familiar? Wolf King muttered. Clang! The gate of time and space followed closely behind the crowd and appeared in front of Mu Qing. Mu Qing waved her hand and the space-time gate flew into her glabella. Then, she looked at Mu Shui in her arms, her eyes filled with sadness and anger. Qin Feiyang glanced at Mu Qing and then glanced at the mountain range below. He sympathized with Mu Shui's experience, but he was not sad. Because their relationship was hostile to begin with. The Wolf King suddenly said, I remember now. This place is deep in the mountains outside the provincial capital. Fatso's eyes lit up and he nodded, yes, 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 Fat Lord also remembered. When Brother Wolf and I went to look for Lion-Headed Eagle and Blood Eagle, we came here. Qin Feiyang said, so, this is the spirit state. Fatso and Wolf King nodded. Qin Feiyang's eyes suddenly had a trace of disbelief as he turned to look at Mu Qing. But Mu Qing still lowered her head and stared at Mu Shui in a daze. Wolf King suggested, "Why don't we take a look at the Holy Palace first?" "We can't go." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Previously, Zhuge Mingyang heard that they were going to leave the capital. Now that they had successfully escaped, the first place Zhuge Mingyang and the others suspected was the spirit state. After all, he used to live in the spirit state. If he went to the Holy Palace now, when the people from the capital came to investigate, not only would his whereabouts be exposed, even those who were related to him would be implicated. So now, it was best not to appear in front of others, or even let others know that he was back. "Then where are we going now?" Lu Hong asked. "I don't know either." Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, "I have to think about it. You guys go to the castle and cultivate." Fatso and the others nodded. Originally, they were very proud of their current cultivation. But when they saw the strength of those people in the capital, especially the state preceptor, they didn't have the courage to fight at all in front of this person, leaving only powerlessness and despair. So now, they had to race against time to improve their strength. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent everyone into the castle. Then, he looked at Mu Qing and said, "The dead can't be brought back to life, my condolences." Mu Qing suddenly raised his head and glared at Qin Feiyang, roaring, "It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, Shui wouldn't have died." Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said, "What does it have to do with me? It's you who wanted to follow me. If it weren't for Lu Xingqian's instructions, would I have followed you?" Mu Qing smiled disdainfully. "Instructions?" Qin Feiyang frowned and said, "What did Lu Xingqian tell you? What's your relationship with Lu Xingqian?" "He asked me to take you away from the capital. As for my relationship with him, I have no comment." After Mu Qing finished speaking, he looked down at Mu Shui, with a doting smile on his face and whispered, "Shui, don't worry, brother will take you home soon." Then. Chapter 740. The facial restoration pill was different from other pills. After a person died, it could still help restore their true appearance. Soon, Mu Shui and Mu Qing both returned to their original appearances. After all these years, the siblings didn't change much, but they were much more mature than before. Especially Mu Qing. Now, she was 185 meters tall, with a thin face with distinct features. Her dark eyes were like two black gems, and she exuded a steady temperament. Qin Feiyang sized up the siblings and frowned. "Why did you hide your identities?" Mu Qing sneered. "If we didn't hide our identities, would you let us follow you?" Qin Feiyang fell silent. If he really knew their identities from the beginning, not only would he not let them follow him, but he would also kill them immediately. "I'm going back to the Forgotten Land soon. Do you want to come with me?" Mu Qing said. "I don't know." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "You don't know? Do you think you have anywhere else to go now? There's no place for you in the great Qin Empire now." Mu Qing sneered. Qin Feiyang frowned and asked, "Your space-time gate can directly teleport you to the Forgotten Land?" "No." Mu Qing said. "No?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "Then how did you come to the spiritual state from the Forgotten Land?" Mu Qing said, "Although my space-time gate can't, the real space-time gate can." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang became more and more puzzled. "There are some things that I can tell you. Shui and I came to the great Qin Empire to find Lu Xingqian. Back then, an old man in my clan divined that Lu Xingqian was in the netherworld. So, he opened the real door of time and space and sent us directly to the 9 underworlds. Later on, we met Lu Xingqian in the 9 underworlds Yellow Springs. Since then, we have been hiding in his spatial divine item." Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyang frowned. When he was trapped by Mo Wuxian and the others and fell into the sea of bitterness, he went to Lu Xingqian's spatial divine item. He remembered that these two people weren't in the spatial divine item at that time. Oh, right. Lu Xingqian had once told him that the secret chamber was only a part of his spatial divine item. There was an even larger space outside the secret chamber. It seemed that Mu Qing and her brother were hiding in the space outside the secret chamber at that time. After pondering for a moment, Qin Feiyang said, "In other words, it was Lu Xingqian who brought you to the capital?" "That's right." Mu Qing nodded. Qin Feiyang was puzzled. "Why are you looking for him?" "I can't tell you about this," Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyang frowned slightly and asked, "Then what's the deal with the door of time and space?" "The real door of time and space can teleport you to anywhere. For example, in the Great Qin Empire, it can directly teleport you to the 9 underworlds Yellow Springs or the Forgotten Land. The door of time and space on me is just a replica. It can only teleport you to and from the same continent," Mu Qing said. "A replica?" Qin Feiyang was in disbelief. If a replica was so amazing, how terrifying would the real door of time and space be? "I've told you everything that I can. I can't say anything. Even if you kill me now, I won't say anything. Do you want to go to the Forgotten Land? Make a decision quickly," Mu Qing said expressionlessly. "Wait." Qin Feiyang stretched out his hand, thought for a moment, and said, "There's another question. When you schemed against me in the 9 underworlds Yellow Springs, was it also related to Lu Xingqian?" "No. At that time, I hadn't seen Lu Xingqian yet, and I didn't know about your relationship with Lu Xingqian. So I wanted to get rid of you with the help of Feng Wuxia and the others. After all, we had a deep grudge in the Forgotten Land. I had to make the first move. But later, I met Lu Xingqian and learned about your relationship with him, so I gave up the idea of killing you. And Lu Xingqian repeatedly told me not to touch you," Mu Qing said. "It's good that it's okay." Qin Feiyang breathed a sigh of relief. He was worried that Lu Xingqian was the one behind all of this. If that was the case, then entrusting Ren Wuxuang to Lu Xingqian was tantamount to pushing her to a dead end. And now, at least it meant that Lu Xingqian didn't have any malice towards him for the time being. As long as he didn't fall out with Lu Xingqian, Ren Wuxuang's safety would be guaranteed. After thinking for a moment, Qin Feiyang said, "Where did you and Lu Xingqian meet?" "It was when Feng Wuxia and the others ambushed you. At that time, Shui and I were hiding not far away," Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyang thought carefully for a moment and said, "Was it the time when Lu Xingqian found the flower of death?" "Yes. At that time, when you were fighting with Feng Wuxia and the others, I took the opportunity to send a message to Lu Xingqian. While you weren't paying attention, he quietly sneaked to see me, and later rescued Feng Wuxia and the others from your hands. And, in order not to arouse your suspicion, we deliberately left the flower of death unpicked. But we didn't expect that in the end, because of the flower of death, you caught Lu Xingqian in the act," Mu Qing explained. "I see." Qin Feiyang suddenly understood and said, "So, you know the reason why Lu Xingqian saved them?" "Yes." Mu Qing nodded and said, "But I can't tell you." As soon as she finished speaking, Qin Feiyang took a step forward, grabbed Mu Qing's neck, and said coldly, "If you don't tell me, I'll kill you." "Then kill me." Mu Qing looked at Qin Feiyang calmly, without the slightest panic or fear. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and finally let go of his hand, saying, "You and Lu Xingqian have known each other for a long time?" Mu Qing took a few breaths and shook her head. "No, I've never seen him before we met in the netherworld." Qin Feiyang's eyes were suddenly filled with surprise and doubt. "If you've never met him, then why did Mu Qing come to Lu Xingqian? What secrets does Lu Xingqian have that no one knows?" He felt that the current situation was getting more and more mysterious. He pondered for a while. A flash of light suddenly flashed in his eyes, and he said, "Wait a moment, I'll go to the castle to discuss with everyone." Mu Qing nodded. Qin Feiyang flashed and entered the castle. Fatso and the others were not cultivating. They all had their heads lowered, as if they were thinking. Seeing Qin Feiyang come in, Fatso immediately looked up at Qin Feiyang and said, "Boss, Mu Qing's identity is not simple." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang asked. "The space-time gate. Look, the space-time gate on Mu Qing's body is just a replica. But this replica is actually a sacred artifact. Isn't this too unbelievable?" Similarly, if the replica space-time gate is a sacred artifact, then what level of weapon is the real space-time gate? I really don't dare to think about it. Fatso said, his eyes full of fear. Lu Hong added, "There's one more point. I believe everyone has deeply experienced how difficult it is to revive a sacred artifact." Fatso, Wolf King, and the other beasts nodded. Just now, if it weren't for the help of that mysterious person, they wouldn't have been able to revive the space-time gate at all. In the end, they might even have lost their lives. Because at that time, the space-time gate was actively absorbing the qi and blood in their bodies, they were already helpless. In short, the space-time gate was forcibly absorbing their qi and blood. This was the price to pay for forcefully reviving a sacred artifact because their cultivation was not enough. Think about it. Reviving the replica space-time gate already requires so much qi and blood. How much qi and blood would it take to revive the real space-time gate? It's definitely not as simple as 1 or 2 times. But Mu Qing said that he and Mu Shui entered the 9 levels of hell through the real space-time gate. What does this mean? This means that the people in Mu Qing's clan have the ability to revive the real space-time gate. Lu Hong said. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. A sacred artifact could only be revived by a 9-star battle saint at the very least. The real space-time gate's level was definitely higher than a sacred artifact. This meant that there was someone in Mu Qing's clan who surpassed the battle saint level. And this Lu Xingchen was actually related to such a behemoth? It was really too strange. Qin Feiyang was silent for a while, then asked, "So what do you mean?" "We have to go to the Forgotten Land. Since we can't get the answer from Lu Xingchen, then we have to go to the Forgotten Land and start from the clan behind Mu Qing." Fatso said. "Yes, we have to investigate thoroughly. I have a feeling that Lu Xingchen, Mu Qing, and the clan behind Mu Qing are planning a big conspiracy. And I think it has something to do with you." Lu Hong said worriedly. "Why do you think so?" Qin Feiyang asked. Lu Hong said, "If it has nothing to do with you, why would they help you?" "That's right." Qin Feiyang gave Lu Hong a thumbs up, looked at the two of them, and said with a smile, "What you said is basically the same as what I think." Fatso was slightly stunned, and said, "So, before entering the castle, you had already made up your mind to go to the Forgotten Land?" "That's right. I don't know if you have noticed, but Lu Xingchen really wants me to go to the Forgotten Land. If that's the case, then I'll do as he wishes. I'd like to see what's hidden in the Forgotten Land." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he left the castle, looked at Mu Qing, and said, "Okay, I'll go to the Forgotten Land with you, but the problem is that your space-time gate can't transport us there." "How are we going to get there?" Mu Qing said, "That depends on you." "Me?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The person guarding the teleportation altar in Butterfly Valley now is Ren Wushuang's grandfather. With your relationship with him, it shouldn't be difficult to get him to let us go, right? Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyang frowned and asked, "Is there no other way?" "No. If you can contact my clan, it won't be so troublesome. Just use the Real Spacetime Gate to take us there. But my clansmen are all in the Forgotten Land, and I can't contact them at all, so I can only go to Butterfly Valley." Mu Qing said. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said, "Then I'll try to find him." Mu Qing said, "Let me hide in your castle first." Qin Feiyang was stunned and said, "Why? Can't you see the light? It's okay to meet Ren Wushuang's grandfather. But if I'm found by that snow python, I'll be in big trouble." Mu Qing said, her eyes full of fear. Snow python? Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked, is the snow python you're talking about the one lurking in the ice lake? Yes. It's the guardian of the teleportation altar in the Forgotten Land. Mu Qing nodded. It's just as I thought. Chapter 741. Butterfly Valley. It was as quiet and peaceful as ever. The sea of flowers, lakes, grasslands, and forests had not changed at all. At this moment, on the shore of the lake, a white-haired old man was leaning against a thick willow tree, holding a fishing rod and concentrating on fishing. Suddenly, the float that was floating on the surface of the water suddenly sank. The white-haired old man was refreshed and pulled up hard. A big fish as long as an arm was pulled up to the shore. What a big harvest today. The old man was very happy. But suddenly, the old man raised his eyebrows and looked up at the sky. He saw a white figure appear out of thin air in the sky. Qin Feiyang? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? The white-haired old man was stunned. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. Suddenly, his eyebrows were full of surprise. The white figure was still there. This meant that his eyes were not playing tricks on him. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Old master, you're quite relaxed. That's right. The white-haired old man fishing was Ren Wushuang's grandfather. Kid, aren't you in the capital? The old man looked at Qin Feiyang in a daze. Swish. Qin Feiyang smiled, swooped down, and landed beside the old man. Looking at the big fish struggling on the ground, he said, It's a good harvest. The old man frowned and said, Answer my question. Why did you suddenly come back? Qin Feiyang smiled and said, I can't stay in the capital anymore, so I can only come back and continue to follow you. The old man said angrily, Get lost, don't talk nonsense. Did you get into trouble in the capital? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He shook his head and said with a wry smile, I really can't hide anything from you. I knew it. You little bastard won't let people feel at ease. The old man glared at him angrily and said, Tell me, what's going on? Qin Feiyang said, I'll tell you if you promise not to be angry. Okay. I promise not to be angry. The old man said. It's all because I'm in the imperial capital, but at this point, Qin Feiyang stopped abruptly. After pondering for a moment, he shook his head and said, Forget it. It's better that you don't know about these things. Are you asking for a beating? The old man's face instantly darkened, and his veins bulged. I'm not joking. I don't want to make things difficult for you. Qin Feiyang said. Although the old man had already stepped down from his position, he was still a member of the great Qin Empire in the end, and he was an upright person. If the old master knew that he had killed the princes, he would definitely be put in a difficult position. The old man looked at him deeply and said helplessly, All right, this old man won't care about young people's affairs. After saying that, he smiled and said, You came back at the right time. Let's go, this old man will boil a pot of fresh fish soup for you to try. Qin Feiyang glanced at the big fish and shook his head. I'm afraid I won't be able to eat it this time. Immediately after. Old man, I'm here because I need your help with something, Yang Ming said sternly. What is it? The old man was suspicious. Qin Feiyang said, I want to go to the Forgotten Land. Go to the Forgotten Land? The old man frowned. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The old man asked suspiciously, What are you going to do there? Qin Feiyang said, I have some personal matters to take care of. The old man pondered for a moment, then shook his head and said, That place is not simple. If you don't explain it clearly, this old man will not let you go. Not simple? Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat, and asked, Can you tell me, what kind of place is the Forgotten Land? This old man is not very clear either. I only heard from the previous mansion master that the Forgotten Land is a very terrifying place. Furthermore, the emperor had personally ordered that no one was allowed to enter the Forgotten Land without his permission. The old man said in a deep voice. There's such a thing? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Since the emperor had personally ordered it, then why did Zhu Yu ask him to go to the Forgotten Land to snatch the heavenly thunder flame back then? Wasn't this tantamount to disobeying the emperor's order? One had to know. Disobeying the emperor's order was a capital offense. And after hearing the old man's words, he recalled that Zhu Yu didn't desire the heavenly thunder flames so much back then. Could it be that Zhu Yu didn't ask him to go to the Forgotten Land because of the heavenly thunder flame, but for other reasons? Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, Old man, I have to go to the Forgotten Land, please make an exception. The old man said, I can make an exception, but you have to tell this old man the reason. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to the Forgotten Land to investigate Lu Xingchen. Investigate him? The old man was stunned. What did Lu Xingchen have to do with the Forgotten Land? To tell you the truth, after Lu Xingchen entered the imperial capital, he became more mysterious than before, and there were people from the Forgotten Land who came to find him. Qin Feiyang secretly said. How is that possible? The old man looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. I'm telling the truth, I'll tell you the details after I've investigated it, okay? The old man hesitated for a moment and nodded. Okay, this old man will let you go. Thank you, old man. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed, hurriedly cupped his hands and thanked him, and then asked, By the way, is there only one entrance to the Forgotten Land? This old man only knows that there is only one entrance in the 9 provinces, but this old man doesn't know about the imperial capital. The old man said. Qin Feiyang nodded thoughtfully and said with a smile, I understand, there's no time to lose, let's go to the teleportation altar immediately. As he spoke, he opened a portal. In such a hurry? The old man was stunned and sighed, I wanted to have a good chat with you, it seems that we can only wait for the future. After saying that, he stepped into the portal. Qin Feiyang followed behind. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the two appeared in the secret chamber below the Butterfly Valley. The old man waved his hand, and his battle aura surged into the teleportation altar. After a while, the teleportation altar shone brightly. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang jumped onto the altar and turned to look at the old man. If people from the imperial capital come to find me, don't say that I went to the Forgotten Land and that you didn't see me. What do you mean? The old man was surprised. But before Qin Feiyang could answer, the altar teleported him away. What on earth is this kid doing? The old man muttered suspiciously, then turned and walked out of the secret chamber. But just as he returned to the lake and was about to deal with the big fish, whoosh! One by one, black armored guards descended on the Butterfly Valley. The leader was a man in golden armor, and his aura was soaring to the sky. Who is it? The old man suddenly looked up, and his face was full of surprise. Even the weakest of these people was stronger than him. But when he saw the armor on those guards, his face suddenly changed. Greetings, lords. He hurriedly bowed. He had been to the imperial capital before, so he naturally recognized the clothes of these guards. The man in golden armor said, I am the commander of the invincible Black Army. The old man's eyes trembled, and he respectfully said, Greetings, Commander. The commander said, Are you the guardian of this place? Yes, I am. The old man respectfully replied. The commander asked, Did you see Qin Feiyang come back? Qin Feiyang? The old man's heart skipped a beat, and he suspiciously said, Isn't Qin Feiyang in the imperial capital? The commander said, Not long ago, he escaped from the imperial capital. Escaped? The old man was surprised and asked, Why did he escape? He killed the current crown prince and the princes. His Majesty has issued an arrest warrant for him. If you don't want to get yourself into trouble, tell me honestly. Did you see him or not? The Grand Commander asked in a stern voice. What? That bastard actually caused such a big trouble? The old man's body and mind trembled. Did this bastard eat a leopard's guts to kill the crown prince and the princes? He couldn't help but struggle in his heart. If he didn't report it, he wouldn't be able to live with his conscience. However, he loved Qin Feiyang more than he hated him. He really couldn't bear to let Qin Feiyang fall into eternal damnation. On one hand, it was justice, and on the other hand, it was personal feelings. He really didn't know how to choose. The commander said in a deep voice, "You haven't spoken for a long time. It seems that you have seen him." "No, no, no." The old man's face suddenly changed. He hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Sir, don't misunderstand. I was shocked. How dare he do such a disgraceful thing? This little bastard really has no respect for the law." Obviously, in the end, he still chose to help Qin Feiyang. Isn't that right? It's because of him that the imperial capital is now in chaos. The commander sighed deeply and believed the old man's words. He said, "Since you don't know, then I won't waste my time." Then he turned to look at the 10 guards standing in the front row behind him and ordered, "Stay here. Once you see Qin Feiyang, kill him without mercy." "Yes." The 10 guards responded respectfully. After that, the Grand Commander left with the other guards. The old man wiped his cold sweat and was extremely angry. He muttered, "Brat, you better be right. Otherwise, this old man won't forgive you." At the same time. Forgotten Land, Glacier Forest. Qin Feiyang fell into the ice lake again. The lake water was bone-chilling cold. But today was different from the past. With his current cultivation, this cold was no longer a threat to him. At the same time, when Qin Feiyang fell into the ice lake, the ferocious beasts lurking in the ice lake opened their bloody mouths and rushed towards him. Boom! However, Qin Feiyang only released his pressure and the ferocious beasts scattered. But they did not leave. They surrounded in the distance and stared at Qin Feiyang vigilantly. Qin Feiyang stood in the lake. His eyes flashed slightly and he dived towards the bottom of the lake. Soon, he saw the snow python again. It was dozens of meters long and its whole body was as white as jade. Just like the last time he saw it, it was sleeping. However, Qin Feiyang still couldn't see through the snow python's cultivation. How strong is it? Looking at the snow python, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but have a trace of suspicion in his eyes. A moment later, he decisively turned and rushed towards the lake. It was better not to provoke such a terrifying existence. Boom! After a few breaths, a huge wave was set off on the lake. Qin Feiyang rushed out and stood above the ice lake, scanning the surroundings. In the sky, snow was falling. The cold current roared in the void. On the ground, it was all snow-white. After so many years, this glacier didn't change much. I'm here again. Chapter 742. After leaving the ice lake, Qin Feiyang landed on the peak of an ice mountain. With a wave of his hand, Mu Qing appeared out of thin air with Mu Shui in her arms. Qin Feiyang said, "I've come to the Forgotten Land as you wished. What's next?" Next, as Mu Qing said this, she suddenly looked behind Qin Feiyang and bowed. "Greetings, Tower Master." "Tower Master?" Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled and he hurriedly turned his head to look. But there was no trace of the Tower Master behind him. Qin Feiyang immediately realized that he had been tricked and hurriedly turned to look at Mu Qing. At that moment, Mu Qing had already opened a teleportation gate and walked into it. "My mission is to bring you to the Forgotten Land. Everything else has nothing to do with me." After saying this, Mu Qing disappeared without a trace. Damn it! Qin Feiyang's face darkened. He did not expect to be tricked by this person again. Whoosh! With a wave of his hand, Wolf King, Fatso, and the pangolin appeared. Hee, boss, I didn't expect you to have such a day. As soon as Fatso appeared, he laughed sinisterly. Get lost. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and said, if I remember correctly, the Lu tribe is outside the glacier? Yes. The battle kings in the tribe were all killed by us. Why? You want to eliminate the source of the trouble? Fatso looked at him in surprise. It's just a small tribe. Do you have to go through so much trouble? My targets are the Ziyang tribe, the Ming Wang tribe, and the Black Tortoise tribe. Qin Feiyang said. At the mention of these three tribes, the long-sealed memories rushed out of his mind. Back then. On the eve of leaving the Forgotten Land. The three leaders of the Ziyang tribe, the Ming Wang tribe, and the Black Tortoise tribe almost killed them. If Wolf King hadn't taken the Juku Yellow Dragon pill at the critical moment, if it wasn't for the mysterious lady saving them, they would have already turned into white bones. It didn't matter if he didn't come here. It was all in the past anyway. But since he was here, he had to settle the score. Fatso, Wolf King, and the pangolin also recalled these events, and a cold light flashed in their eyes. Qin Feiyang said, go to the three major tribes immediately. I want them to disappear. What about you? Wolf King asked. I'll go to White Fox City. Once you're done, come to White Fox City to look for me. Qin Feiyang said. Why are we going to White Fox City? Have you forgotten that the mysterious madam is in White Fox City? Fatso and Wolf King's expressions changed. Of course not. I'm going there this time to see her. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he opened a teleportation gate and walked in. Is our boss crazy? Fatso turned to look at Wolf King and the pangolin with bewilderment. He should be crazy. Wolf King nodded. Who cares if he's crazy or not? I can't control the desolate power in my body anyway. The pangolin chuckled. Fatso and Wolf King looked at it in surprise and a sinister smile appeared in their eyes. Let's split up. The Wolf King said. Then, each of them opened a portal and walked in. Purple Sun Tribe. After so many years, this famous tribe was still as prosperous as before. Swoosh. A palm-sized beast shadow suddenly descended in the sky above the Purple Sun Tribe. It was Wolf King. Wolf King stood against the wind and swept his gaze below. He chuckled and shouted, Old thing, come out and die. His voice was like a bell that reverberated in all directions. Who is it? In front of the gate of the tribe, there were two burly men wearing black leopard skin windbreakers. They looked very impressive. Hearing Wolf King's shout, they immediately looked up at Wolf King with cold eyes. You don't even remember Lord Wolf. Your memory is too bad, isn't it? Wolf King snorted coldly and stretched out his little paw. A powerless pressure immediately surged out. Ah! Before the two burly men could react, they screamed and blood splattered on the spot. Who dares to cause trouble in my Purple Sun Tribe? They must be tired of living. For a moment. Following a series of angry roars, people wearing animal skins rushed out from the tribe below. So many people want to die? All right, I'll fulfill your wishes. Wolf King's killing intent surged. He pointed his paw in the air and a bright battle chi roared out. Wherever the battle chi went, the people of the Purple Sun Tribe died one by one like ants. Blood rained down and dyed the sky red. Who is it? Suddenly, a fierce roar exploded. A skinny middle-aged man flew up into the sky and glared at Wolf King. On the left side of his face, there was a scar like a centipede. It was extremely ferocious. That's right. This man was the leader of the Purple Sun Tribe. You're finally out. Wolf King grinned and looked at the leader of the Purple Sun Tribe. He shook his head and sighed, when we left that year, you were already a 9-star combat emperor. Now, you're still a 9-star combat emperor. Why are you so useless? That year? The leader of the Purple Sun tribe raised his eyebrows and suddenly thought of something. He shouted in anger, "It's you." Wolf King laughed, "That's right, it's me, your Lord Wolf." The leader of the Purple Sun tribe's face twisted and his eyes were filled with hatred. He said, "Where's Qin Feiyang, that little bastard?" Although on the surface, the Purple Sun tribe was still as prosperous as before. In fact, after losing the alchemy fire, the overall strength of the tribe had dropped by a level. And all of this was caused by Qin Feiyang and the bastard in front of him. Little bastard? Wolf King's eyes turned cold and said, "Old bastard, today we'll settle our old scores." After saying that terrifying aura instantly enveloped the entire Purple Sun tribe. So strong? How many years has it been? How did it become so terrifying? The leader of the Purple Sun tribe glared at him in disbelief. At the same time, in the sky above the Black Tortoise tribe, the pangolin returned to his original form. He was like a towering mountain with a ferocious aura that intimidated everyone. In front of him stood a 2-meter-tall burly man. His cultivation was also a 9-star combat emperor. And this burly man was the leader of the Black Tortoise tribe. The pangolin looked at the leader of the Black Tortoise tribe with disdain and said, "Tell me, how do you want to die?" Impossible. However, the leader of the Black Tortoise tribe shook his head as if he didn't hear what the pangolin said. "Nothing is impossible. You can only blame yourselves for provoking us in the past." The pangolin sneered. The same thing was happening in the sky above the Bright King tribe. A middle-aged man in white stood in the sky and stared at Fatso in shock. This man was about 1.75 meters tall and had white hair at his temples. He gave off a sense of vicissitudes. He was the leader of the Bright King tribe, Luo Guang. You didn't expect this, did you? The insignificant person who was comparable to an ant in your eyes has now grown to the point where even you can only look up to him. Fatso chuckled. Luo Guang's pupils contracted and he asked with difficulty, "What is your cultivation level now?" 3-star combat grandmaster. Fatso said. Luo Guang's face turned pale with fright. Fatso sneered and said, "Go to hell and repent slowly." After that, he waved his hand and the black dragon battle chi roared in the sky and charged towards Luo Guang. At the same time, White Fox City. Although the city wasn't big, it had been around for a long time. Qin Feiyang didn't conceal himself and landed in the sky above the governor's mansion. "Who is it?" Suddenly, an old man's roar rang out from below. Following closely, 2 figures flew up into the sky and stared at Qin Feiyang in bewilderment. One of them was a tall and sturdy man. He wore a black beast skin and emitted a wild aura. The other person was an old man. The clothes on his body were actually made of snake skin. He was skinny and looked a little scary. Both of their cultivations were at the 7-star combat grandmaster. Looking at the two of them, Qin Feiyang looked surprised and asked, "You guys aren't dead yet?" Their faces darkened. Old Man Snakeskin said angrily, "Who the hell are you? What are you doing here? You don't remember?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. How long had he been gone, and he had already forgotten about him. However, Qin Feiyang was no stranger to these two people. The two of them were the leaders of the tribes near White Fox City. Back then, they had even joined forces with him to deal with the Meng family. However, unfortunately, they were controlled by the mysterious lady with a slave seal. At that time, they even offered the tribe's pill fire to him, which allowed the nether devil flame to rise to the 3rd grade. He still remembered that there was an old woman at that time, who was also the leader of a nearby tribe. However, she was later killed by the mysterious lady because she contradicted her. However, the cultivation of these two people was far beyond his expectations. If he remembered correctly, these two people were only 5-star combat emperors at that time. But how many years had it been? They actually broke through 2 small realms in a row? This kind of speed was nothing to him. However, for ordinary people, it was incredible. Looking at the two of them, Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "You still don't remember?" The two of them looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously and fell into deep thought. Suddenly, the burly man's gaze trembled and said, "You're Qin Feiyang." When Old Man Snakeskin heard this, his stooped body couldn't help but tremble. "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. Old Man Snakeskin immediately bowed and said, "Greetings, young master." "Young master?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. He didn't expect to have the chance to hear this title. The burly man was also stunned, then he said in a low voice, "What are you doing? Did you forget the lady's order? He is no longer the young master." "Yes." That year, the lady said that if she saw Qin Feiyang again, he would be an enemy. Old Man Snakeskin seemed to have just woken up from a dream. His face darkened and he said, "I didn't expect you to dare to come back." "Why not?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "That year, when you robbed the Ziyang tribe, Ming Wang tribe, and Black Tortoise tribe, the lady took a great risk to save you. But what about you? You're ungrateful and sneaked away. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. The lady has already decided to kill you. This time, I guarantee that you won't be able to return." The two of them sneered. Decided to kill. Chapter 743. You still dare to come and see Madam. I really admire your courage. Follow us if you're not afraid of death. Old Man Snakeskin and the burly man sneered, then turned around and dived down. Qin Feiyang pursed his lips and followed behind the two unhurriedly with a faint smile. There was a garden below, covering an area of about 1,000 feet and covered with a layer of pure white snow. On one side of the garden, there was a large hall. It was tall and majestic, emitting an ancient aura. At the door, there were many guards wearing leopard fur coats, standing straight with spirited eyes. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang and the other two landed in front of the hall one after another. Greetings to the two lords. Those guards immediately bowed to the burly man and the burly man. Qin Feiyang teased, "You're pretty impressive." "Shut up." Old Man Snakeskin shouted coldly, then said to the burly man, "You guard outside, I'll bring him in." "Okay." The burly man nodded. "Follow me." Old Man Snakeskin said to Qin Feiyang without turning his head, then strode into the hall. Indeed, he has the potential to be a watchdog. Qin Feiyang looked at the burly man with a mocking gaze, then entered the hall. Crack. The burly man clenched his fists, staring at Qin Feiyang, his whole body emitting a shocking killing intent. A guard next to him asked in a low voice, "Lord, is he really Qin Feiyang?" "Yes." The burly man nodded. "Idol." Those guards' eyes were filled with worship. But looking at everyone's reaction, the burly man raised his eyebrows, and his expression became gloomier. More importantly, the guards next to him didn't notice, and kept whispering to each other. It said that Qin Feiyang's group not only robbed the Purple Sun tribe, Bright King tribe, and Black Tortoise tribe's pill fires, but also plundered their treasure vaults. It can be said that he's famous. I've also heard of this. Furthermore, this Qin Feiyang was once taken in as a personal disciple by the Pill Tower's Tower Master. If I remember correctly, the old patriarch also died at the hands of this Qin Feiyang. Tisk, TSK, this guy is really fierce. I truly never expected that we would have the opportunity to meet him in person. Hearing these discussions, the burly man's eyes became more and more hazy. Shut up. In the end. He abruptly turned his head, glanced at the guards, and gloomily said, "If I hear the name Qin Feiyang again, don't blame me for being merciless." The guards shrank their necks and immediately fell silent. Their eyes were filled with fear. Meanwhile, Qin Feiyang followed behind Old Man Snakeskin and went straight to the second floor of the main hall. In front of a door. Old Man Snakeskin raised his arm and gently knocked on the door. He said respectfully, "Master, Qin Feiyang is back." Bang! before his voice died away. The door in front of Qin Feiyang and Old Man Snakeskin was smashed into pieces by a huge force. Old Man Snakeskin was startled and instinctively retreated. Following that, a beautiful woman appeared at the door like lightning. She was wearing a mink fur coat, and her long black hair was tied up high, looking graceful and luxurious. That's right. It was the mysterious lady. She stood at the door, staring at Qin Feiyang. Her face was full of anger and killing intent. Seeing this, Old Man Snakeskin next to her couldn't help but gloat. But Qin Feiyang was very calm, and without the slightest fear, he said with a smile, "Senior, I know you miss me very much, but you don't have to be so excited." Ah! Old Man Snakeskin immediately staggered and fell flat on his face. Was there something wrong with this person's brain? How dare he flirt with the lady? Looking at Old Man Snakeskin's embarrassed appearance, the anger in the beautiful woman's heart rose. She shouted, "Useless trash, get out." Old Man Snakeskin's body trembled, and he hurriedly rolled and crawled downstairs. Then, the beautiful woman looked at Qin Feiyang with a bone-chilling gaze, and said, "You still dare to come back?" Qin Feiyang said with a faint smile, "I didn't do anything wrong. Why wouldn't I dare to come back?" Finished. Without waiting for the beautiful woman to speak, he walked into the beautiful woman's room and glanced around. After so many years, the layout here hadn't changed much. The beautiful woman frowned, turned around and looked at Qin Feiyang, and said, "Then that year, why did you run away?" The leaders of the 3 tribes, the City Lord of Sky Thunder City, and the Tower Master of Pill Tower, all wanted to destroy me. How could I not run away? Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. Is that so? But why do I remember that you were already out of danger at that time? The beautiful woman's gaze was unkind. What a difficult woman. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but have a headache, and said helplessly, "Well, I admit, at that time we chose to run away, was indeed to get rid of your control." The beautiful woman said, "I'm afraid this is only one aspect." Qin Feiyang was startled, and asked suspiciously, "Senior, why do you say that? Don't play dumb with me, you're not from the Forgotten Land at all. According to my speculation, the reason you came to the Forgotten Land last time should be for the flame of heavenly thunder. Am I wrong?" The beautiful woman said. Qin Feiyang's pupils contracted. This woman's brain was terrifying, right? "Tell me, who exactly are you? What is your purpose in coming to the Forgotten Land this time?" The beautiful woman said. "Then can you tell me, who are you? You have to know, even the imperial capital of the great Qin Empire doesn't have many perfect battle arts. But back then, you gave us 7 perfect battle arts." 7 perfect battle arts, what kind of concept is that? I think your background must not be simple either. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed slightly, and asked back. "You still remember that I gave you 7 perfect battle arts, such a great kindness, and you're repaying me like this?" The beautiful woman was so angry that she laughed. "Of course we haven't forgotten your great kindness, otherwise, I wouldn't have come to visit you as soon as I came to the Forgotten Land." Qin Feiyang smiled. The beautiful woman's face darkened, and she said angrily, "Stop talking nonsense, answer my question." "All right. I'll tell you the truth, this time I came to the Forgotten Land for the flame of heavenly thunder. As for my identity, I'm just a nobody, there's no need to talk about it." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Really?" The beautiful woman looked at him suspiciously. "More real than a pearl." Qin Feiyang nodded. The beautiful woman pondered for a while and nodded, "All right, I'll believe you for now, but you didn't come to visit me just to see me, right?" Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. "I really can't hide anything from Senior's eyes, actually I came to ask for Senior's help." "I can't help you. Because now, I don't want to be enemies with the Pill Tower," the beautiful woman said with a hint of fear in her tone. Qin Feiyang was a little puzzled. That year, this person was able to save them from the Tower Master's hands, which was enough to show that her strength was not weaker than the Tower Master. Since she had such strength, what was there to be afraid of? The beautiful woman did not explain, and said, I also advise you to give up on the idea of snatching the flame of heavenly thunder, because it will bring you endless trouble. Qin Feiyang frowned. The beautiful woman said, Believe me, I'm not trying to scare you. This, Qin Feiyang hesitated for a moment, and smiled, Let me think about it. Oh right, there's one more thing that I need Senior's help with. What is it? The beautiful woman was puzzled. Qin Feiyang's mind moved, and a cluster of pill fire appeared. It was the cluster of 5th grade pill fire that he snatched from the pill hall. Ah! 5th grade pill fire? The beautiful woman was quite surprised. Qin Feiyang said calmly, Senior, can you help me erase the blood contract inside? Let me see. The beautiful woman waved her hand, and battle qi gushed out, rushing towards the pill fire. This blood contract, immediately. A look of shock appeared on the beautiful woman's face. Swish. She raised her head to look at Qin Feiyang, and asked, Who is the original owner of this pill fire? Qin Feiyang said vaguely, An expert that I can't afford to offend. You can't afford to offend him, and you even snatched the pill fire from him? The beautiful woman looked at him in disbelief. I'm lucky. Qin Feiyang smiled embarrassedly. Luck? I don't believe that you have such good luck. This blood contract, I can erase it, but I have a condition. The beautiful woman said. What? It can be erased. Qin Feiyang was secretly shocked. One had to know. The owner of this cluster of pill fire was the hall master of the Divine Palace Pill Hall. This person's cultivation had definitely surpassed the battle master. Since the beautiful woman was so confident, could it be that she was even stronger than the hall master of the pill hall? He began to regret. If he knew that the beautiful woman was so ridiculously strong, he wouldn't have come back even if he was beaten to death. After calming down a little from the shock in his heart, he asked, What conditions? The beautiful woman said, Continue to follow me. This, Qin Feiyang hesitated for a while, and nodded, That's not a problem. The family behind Mu Qing was scary and mysterious. If he was alone, he might not be able to find anything. If he had the beautiful woman's help, he might be able to get twice the result with half the effort. At the very least, even if the beautiful woman couldn't help much in this matter, she could still protect him at the crucial moment. That meant that he had a strong backer. Don't agree too early. I have a condition from before, you must be controlled by the slave seal. The beautiful woman said. This kid was too cunning. If there wasn't the slave seal, the situation a few years ago might happen again. After hearing that, Qin Feiyang instantly frowned. The reason why the old snakeskin and the muscular man were so loyal to the beautiful woman was because they were controlled by the slave seal. Moreover, he still remembered clearly that the beautiful woman said that once one was controlled by the slave seal, she could kill someone from 1,000 miles away with just a thought. In other words, as long as one was controlled by the slave seal, no matter where one ran, they wouldn't be able to escape from the beautiful woman's palm. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and kept the alchemy fire. He shook his head and said, I'm sorry, I don't like being controlled. After that, Qin Feiyang turned around and left without hesitation. And he ran away in a hurry. In the past, he only felt that the woman was strong, but not scary. However, when he heard that this person could actually erase the blood contract in the alchemy fire, he immediately realized that this was an existence that he couldn't afford to offend. However, unexpectedly, the beautiful woman didn't stop him. She just silently watched Qin Feiyang leave. Chapter 744. Qin Feiyang ran out of the hall as if he was running for his life. Seeing that the beautiful woman did not chase after him, he could not help but heave a sigh of relief. But immediately after, a trace of suspicion crept into his eyes. If the beautiful woman forced him to stay, he would not have a chance to escape. He might not even be able to enter the castle. But why did she not stop him? He came out alive? At the same time, seeing Qin Feiyang run out unscathed, the burly man and the others were surprised. Are you disappointed? Qin Feiyang smiled disdainfully and rushed into the sky without looking back. Qin Feiyang, how dare you come back? But suddenly, a furious roar filled with resentment sounded from below. Before the voice finished, a middle-aged man in a tiger fur coat rushed into the sky with a monstrous murderous aura. Qin Feiyang was stunned and looked at this person suspiciously. Suddenly, he revealed a look of realization. This person was the Meng family's patriarch, Meng Yiping. Meng Yiping stared at him with resentment and said, "Since you're here, don't think about leaving." You? Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Meng Yiping said, "I don't have the strength, but the madam does." Then do you know that I've already met the madam? Qin Feiyang said playfully. Meng Yiping was shocked and lowered his head to look at the burly man and the others. The burly man nodded. That's impossible. The madam clearly said that you're an enemy when she sees you in the future. Why would she let you go? Meng Yiping's eyes were filled with disbelief. Whoosh! It was also at this moment that three figures appeared out of thin air above White Fox City. It was Fatso, Wolf King, and the Pangolin. After washing the three major tribes with blood, there was no trace of blood on their bodies. However, because of the previous massacre, they were emitting a shocking murderous aura. Oh, it's quite lively. The Pangolin chuckled and landed beside Qin Feiyang. He looked at Meng Yiping and said in surprise, "You're not dead yet?" Meng Yiping's face sank. It really is as the old saying goes. Good people don't live long, but disasters live for 1,000 years. However, since I'm here, I'll be a good person and send you off. Killing intent flashed across the pangolin's eyes as it stretched out its claws, releasing a roaring battle chi. Don't attack. Qin Feiyang's expression changed and he hurriedly stopped the pangolin. Ah, but it was too late. Meng Yiping was killed on the spot by the battle chi, and not even his corpse was left behind. All that was left was a blood-curdling scream that reverberated between heaven and earth for a long time. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He looked at the pangolin angrily and said, "What are you doing? Are you addicted to killing?" The pangolin was stunned. It looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion and asked, "Can't I kill it?" Previously, when it saw Qin Feiyang and Meng Yiping confronting each other in the air, it thought that Qin Feiyang and the madam had completely fallen out. Therefore, it killed Meng Yiping without saying a word. But now, looking at Qin Feiyang's reaction, it didn't seem to be the case. Of course not. Qin Feiyang glared at it angrily and immediately opened a portal. "Let's go." He anxiously shouted and rushed toward the portal. Bang! However, before he could enter the portal, a terrifying pressure erupted from the large dot below. In an instant, that oppressive aura swept across the sky, firmly imprisoning the few of them in the air. What a strong pressure. What's the situation? Fatso and Wolf King were surprised. Whoosh! Then, accompanied by the sound of something breaking through the air, the beautiful woman rushed out of the hall and landed in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. Her face was full of anger. This pressure is hers? Fatso, Wolf King, and the pangolin's eyes almost popped out. They had long guessed that this woman was very strong, but they didn't expect her to be so ridiculously strong. They had to be clear. Right now, they had already opened the 5th level of the Gate of Potential, and the pressure of the War Master could hardly restrain them. Unless it was a war sage. Qin Feiyang's face was also ashen, and said, "Now that you know, why didn't I let you kill Meng Yiping? Why didn't you say so earlier?" The pangolin was furious. Qin Feiyang said angrily, "I wanted to say it, but did you give me the chance?" The Wolf King roared anxiously, "Can you all stop talking nonsense? Quickly think of a way." "I have no choice," Qin Feiyang said weakly. This pressure was too strong. Being imprisoned here, they couldn't even enter the castle. What else could they do? Moreover, even if they could enter the castle, as long as this madam stayed here, it would be enough to trap them to death. Qin Feiyang, oh Qin Feiyang, I have already let you go, and I have also let bygones be bygones. I didn't expect that you would actually kill my people. How amazing! Now tell me, how should I deal with you? At the same time, the beautiful woman looked at the two men and two beasts, her eyes frighteningly cold. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled, and he hurriedly said, Senior, this is an accident. Yes, yes, yes. An accident, an accident. The pangolin, Fatso, and Wolf King also nodded. Accident? The beautiful woman smiled coldly, placed her hands in front of her chest, and quickly formed a seal. Wang! In an instant. 4 palm-sized pentagrams flew out from between her hands. They shone brightly and emitted an obscure aura. This is the enslavement seal. The two men and two beasts' expressions changed. Wait! Qin Feiyang hurriedly said. What is it? The beautiful woman looked at him coldly. Qin Feiyang said, Please let them go, just control me. Do you think that's possible? The beautiful woman teased. Qin Feiyang said, They are all my followers, loyal and devoted. As long as I am controlled, they are also controlled by you. Impossible. The beautiful woman shook her head and refused. And she didn't say any more nonsense. With a wave of her hand, the 4 pentagrams flew towards the top of the heads of the two men and two beasts. If you don't agree, even if I am controlled by you, I will commit suicide on the spot. Qin Feiyang roared. The beautiful woman frowned and looked deeply at Qin Feiyang. In the end, with a thought, the 3 enslavement seals disintegrated in an instant. All right, I'll do as you wish and let them go. I'll only control you. But in the future, you'd better behave yourself. With that, she waved her hand, and the enslavement seal turned into a stream of light, instantly rushing into the top of Qin Feiyang's head. Previous chapter. Next chapter, boom. Immediately, Qin Feiyang's mind seemed to explode with thunder. He felt as if his sea of consciousness was being torn apart. That intense pain caused his body and mind to tremble, and his face to distort. Moreover, although he couldn't see the situation in his sea of consciousness, he could clearly feel that his soul was being devoured by the enslavement seal. Seeing this, Fatso said anxiously, We can't let boss be controlled by her, Brother Wolf, can you think of a way? Wolf King said angrily, If brother had a way, he would have acted long ago, why would he wait until now? The pangolin at the side was full of self-blame. If it wasn't for its recklessness, all of this wouldn't have happened. It was it who harmed Qin Feiyang. Pfft. At this time, Qin Feiyang suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale. Damn it. Fat Lord, fight it out with her. Fatso was so anxious that his eyes turned red and he was about to lose his mind. But at this time, strands of black light suddenly blossomed from Qin Feiyang's forehead. Immediately, Fatso, Wolf King, the pangolin, and the beautiful woman all looked at the black light in surprise. At the same time, the moment the black light appeared, Qin Feiyang felt that the pain from his sea of consciousness had disappeared. Moreover, he could also sense that there was a mysterious force that trapped the enslavement seal in his sea of consciousness. What's the situation? He was a little stunned. Pfft. Just when they were puzzled, the beautiful woman's body suddenly trembled, and a trace of blood actually flowed out from the corner of her mouth. And the pressure that trapped Qin Feiyang and the others also disappeared in an instant. What's going on? This sudden situation caused Qin Feiyang and the others to be extremely shocked. How is this possible? I actually suffered a backlash, at the same time. The beautiful woman also looked at Qin Feiyang in shock, as if she had seen a ghost. This is retribution. Fatso and Wolf King suddenly laughed out loud. Although they didn't understand what was going on, seeing the beautiful woman suffer a big loss made them feel very happy. What are you laughing at? Run! Qin Feiyang secretly shouted. Fatso quivered and immediately opened another teleportation door. Then, the two men and two beasts fled for their lives. By the time the beautiful woman came back to her senses, they had already been teleported away. Damn it! The beautiful woman's face was gloomy as she shouted, "You two come up." Old Man Snakeskin and the burly man looked at each other and hurriedly soared into the sky, standing respectfully in front of the beautiful woman. They should be going to Sky Thunder City. You two immediately go to Sky Thunder City and guard it. Once you find their whereabouts, immediately report to me. In addition, they might change their appearance. When you reach Sky Thunder City, immediately release the news. At that time, the people of Sky Thunder City will naturally use the Heaven's Eye Stone to investigate. The beautiful woman said. Yes. The two respectfully replied and opened the teleportation door to leave. Originally, I saw that you had some value and wanted to keep you, but I didn't expect you to have the ability to resist my slave seal. Looks like I have to kill you. The beautiful woman looked at the teleportation door that disappeared and muttered to herself. Her eyes flashed with shocking killing intent. Glacier Forest. Above an ice mountain, Qin Feiyang and the rest appeared out of thin air. They all had a frightened look. A moment later, the pangolin walked to Qin Feiyang and lowered his head. I'm sorry, I'm the one who harmed you. If you want to hit or scold me, just come. I won't fight back. Then I'll really hit you? Qin Feiyang frowned and said with a straight face. Hit me. The pangolin nodded. Looking at the pangolin's face, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but find it funny. He shook his head and said, forget it. Take this as a lesson. Remember not to be so reckless in the future. Then, he added, at the end of the day, this is actually my fault. If I didn't insist on meeting her, this wouldn't have happened. The pangolin was stunned and smiled, thank you. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Fatso asked, boss, Fat Lord is puzzled. Why do you insist on meeting her? This woman is mysterious and unpredictable. For us, she's always a hidden danger. So, I want to see her attitude and test her strength. Who would have thought that something like this would happen? Qin Feiyang was quite distressed. Chapter 745. But fortunately, there was no danger. But here came the question. Just now, what was the black light that emerged from the glabella? Qin Feiyang touched the glabella and didn't find anything strange. Fatso and Wolf King also looked at Qin Feiyang's glabella suspiciously. At that time, when the slave seal entered Qin Feiyang's skull, they were almost desperate. But they didn't expect that at the critical moment, a black light would suddenly appear, not only resisting the slave seal's devouring, but also causing the beautiful woman to suffer a backlash. Wasn't this too bizarre? Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, and suddenly his eyes were filled with surprise. Could it be the ancient castle? Because only the ancient castle was stored in the glabella. Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang's mind moved, and the ancient castle rushed out from the glabella. It was palm-sized, dark all over, and exuded an ancient aura. But next to the ancient castle, there was something else. This was a pentagram, imprisoned by wisps of black light. It was the slave seal. Did the ancient castle really help me? Qin Feiyang was extremely surprised. All along, the impression that the ancient castle gave him was just a space treasure that could be used to hide. But he didn't expect it to have such a terrifying power. It seemed that, as Lu Xingqian said, this ancient castle was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. At the same time, Fatso, Wolf King, and the pangolin also stared at the ancient castle and the slave seal, full of disbelief. After a while, everyone came back to their senses. Fatty immediately asked in confusion, "Boss, why do you think this ancient castle would imprison the enslavement seal?" "I don't know." Qin Feiyang shook his head and raised his hand to touch the slave seal tentatively. As a result, he was shocked to find that this slave seal gave him a sense of familiarity. What's going on? Qin Feiyang frowned. But just when he was puzzled, the ancient castle with the slave seal took the initiative to rush into Qin Feiyang's glabella. Following closely, Qin Feiyang felt a huge amount of information surging into his mind. This is, immediately. His gaze shook, and then he hurriedly sat down cross-legged in space and closed his eyes. His expression gradually fell into a peaceful state. At first glance, it looked as if it had fallen into a deep slumber. What's going on? Fatso and Wolf King looked at each other. They had no idea what Qin Feiyang was doing. The pangolin whispered, "Do you want to ask?" "Don't." Fatso stretched out his hand to stop it and said in a low voice, "Boss, current situation should be related to the enslavement seal. It's best that we don't disturb him, yes. If there is any danger, he will definitely ask us for help." Wolf King nodded. Next, Fatso and Wolf King stood around Qin Feiyang, protecting Qin Feiyang. Originally, they thought that Qin Feiyang would wake up soon, but as the days passed, Qin Feiyang showed no signs of waking up. What's going on? The pangolin couldn't help but start to worry. Don't worry. Looking at his smooth breathing and stable aura, it shouldn't be like some kind of hidden danger. Fatso looked up and down at Qin Feiyang and whispered. Finally, seeing that Qin Feiyang hadn't woken up, they all sat cross-legged in the air and began to cultivate. Time flew by. A month passed. Early in the morning, Qin Feiyang, who had been motionless, suddenly raised his hands and placed them in front of his chest to form a seal. His movements were very complicated, and his speed was very slow. But as time passed, his speed became faster and faster. And there was an obscure aura that spread out from his hands. No one knew how much time had passed. Buzz. Finally, the void twisted, and a palm-sized pentagram appeared between his hands, radiating a dazzling light. Hearing the commotion, Fatso and Wolf King opened their eyes one after another. When they saw the pentagram, their eyes widened. Wasn't this the slavery seal? Qin Feiyang could actually form the slavery seal. Was this a joke? Swoosh. Right at this moment, Qin Feiyang suddenly opened his eyes and two beams of light burst out. Fatso asked in surprise, "Boss, what's going on? How do you know the slavery seal?" Qin Feiyang looked at Fatso and lowered his head to look at the slavery seal floating in front of him with a hint of shock in his eyes. A moment later, with a wave of his hand, the slavery seal dissipated. He looked at Fatso and Wolf King and smiled. "This is all thanks to the castle." The man and the two beasts were even more puzzled. Qin Feiyang asked, "How long has it been?" Fatso said, "A month." "So fast?" Qin Feiyang frowned. Wolf King urged impatiently, Hey, little Qin Z, don't keep us in suspense, okay?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "Do you remember a month ago, the castle took the initiative to rush into my glabella with the slavery seal?" The man and the two beasts nodded. "After the castle and the slavery seal entered my glabella, I immediately felt a huge amount of information pouring into my mind." At this point, Qin Feiyang smiled mysteriously and said, "Take a guess. What do you think the contents of this information are?" "Slavery seal?" Wolf King raised his eyebrows and asked. "Yes. It's the slavery seal. And it's the cultivation method of the slavery seal, as well as the method to break it," Qin Feiyang said. "What?" Hearing it, Fatso and Wolf King were dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang continued, "At that time, I also felt that it was inconceivable, so I immediately comprehended it. I didn't expect that I would really succeed." This, the man and the two beasts looked at each other. What Qin Feiyang said, in their eyes, felt like a fantasy story. It was too unreal. Fatso asked, Then what exactly is this slavery seal? The slavery seal is to forcefully control a person's soul and sign a master and servant contract. And once the soul is controlled, unless the master takes the initiative to remove it, the slavery seal will remain for the rest of your life. But the slavery seal also has a fatal flaw, and that is that it can only control creatures of the same realm as itself, as well as creatures of a lower cultivation base than itself. For example, I can only control people below the 4-star War Master level. Qin Feiyang said. What if their cultivation base is higher than yours? Wolf King asked. If their cultivation base is higher than mine, they will suffer from a backlash. And the higher the other party's cultivation base, the more serious the backlash will be. It will even hurt my own soul. Qin Feiyang said. Fatso said, in that case, the slavery seal is actually a double-edged sword? That's right. But as long as you successfully control the other party, you will be a slave for life. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. TSK TSK TSK. I didn't expect this castle to be so powerful. Fatso was speechless. Yeah, I didn't expect the castle to have this ability either. Actually, the slavery seal is very profound, but the castle seems to have broken it down. Many complicated things have become very simple. Without its help, I'm afraid that even after a few more years, I wouldn't be able to comprehend it. As Qin Feiyang said this, with a thought, the castle appeared once again. Looking at the castle, the two men and the two beasts sighed. Wolf King said with a sneaky smile, speaking of which, we can be considered to have profited from a disaster this time. That's right. That woman definitely wouldn't have dreamed that boss would be able to control the slavery seal so easily. Fatso chuckled. He really wanted to tell that woman now and see what kind of expression she would have. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, put away the castle, and said, let's go, it's time to go to Sky Thunder City. Fatso was stunned and said in surprise, you really plan to snatch the Sky Thunder flame? If there's a chance, I definitely won't miss it. But my main goal is still Mu Qing. Qin Feiyang said. What does this have to do with Mu Qing? Wolf King was puzzled. Of course it has something to do with it. Think about it, since Mu Qing has such a terrifying family background, why did he go to the Pill Tower back then? Qin Feiyang said. Fatso said in realization, that's right, back then, he and Mu Shui entered the Pill Tower with you. And with his family background, there's indeed no need to enter the Pill Tower. So, he must have entered the Pill Tower back then with some purpose. We can follow this clue and find him. I believe that we will be able to find him sooner or later. Qin Feiyang sneered, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Sky Thunder City. Outside the city, wind and snow covered, and the cold current was bone-piercing. However, it was warm inside the city. All of this was because of the Sky Thunder Flame. The heat emitted by the heavenly thunder flame prevented the cold currents from invading. This city, which was not very big, was like a paradise. However, this paradise was currently in an uproar. Just a month ago, not long after Fatso and Wolf King massacred the 3 major tribes, this matter spread in Sky Thunder City. In addition to being shocked, everyone was speculating who massacred the 3 major tribes. Because of this matter, the city lord of Sky Thunder City even personally went to the 3 major tribes to investigate. But after a round of investigation, he did not find anything suspicious in the ruins of the 3 major tribes. But not long after, a piece of news suddenly came from Sky Thunder City. Qin Feiyang was back. Hearing this name, everyone in the Sky Thunder City instantly boiled over. Of course they remembered this name. And it was hard to forget. Even for most people, the 3 words Qin Feiyang was a nightmare. And after the city lord learned of this matter, he immediately ordered to strictly investigate everyone who entered and left the city. At the same time, he was also looking forward to Qin Feiyang's arrival. Because the debt from back then had not been settled yet. Moreover, he was already suspecting that the people who massacred the 3 major tribes might be Qin Feiyang's group. In the sky outside the city, goose-feather heavy snow floated. The ground was covered in white snow. A young man wearing tiger skin walked alone on a small path outside the city. He was about 1.75 meters tall, his body was thin, his appearance was very ordinary, and his aura was not strong. Even if someone brushed past him, they would not take a second look at him. But if one observed carefully, they would find that this person's eyes were deep, revealing a kind of sharpness that ordinary people could not compare to. And at the same time, this young man also turned a blind eye to the pedestrians coming and going. He curiously looked at the surrounding scenery with a faint smile on his face. However, when this young man saw the situation at the city gate, his pupils shrank slightly with a trace of surprise. Outside the city gate, there was a long line of hundreds of people. And on both sides of the city gate, there were more than 10 guards, each of them holding a heaven's eye stone. Chapter 746. What's going on? The young man couldn't help but stop and look at the city gate suspiciously. Suddenly, the young man grabbed the arm of a burly man and asked doubtfully, "Brother, what happened in Sky Thunder City? Why is the security so tight?" This burly man had just come out of the city. Hearing the young man's question, the burly man was stunned and asked, "You're not from Sky Thunder City?" "No." The young man laughed. "No wonder you don't know." The burly man nodded in realization and asked again, "Then have you heard of Qin Feiyang?" "Qin Feiyang?" The young man pondered for a moment and shook his head, "No." "What? You haven't even heard of Qin Feiyang?" The burly man was slightly stunned. He looked at the young man's eyes with a trace of contempt. Seeing this, the young man touched his nose and looked at the burly man suspiciously. He asked, "Brother, is this Qin Feiyang very famous?" "Nonsense. Those guards are making such a big fuss because of this Qin Feiyang. Do you think he's famous?" The burly man said disdainfully. Hearing this, the young man raised his eyebrows and said in a low voice, "Brother, can you tell me in detail? I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. If you want to know, go ask someone else." The burly man glanced at the young man coldly and turned to leave. Looking at the back of the burly man, the young man frowned and turned to look at the city gate. "For me? Could it be that they already know that I was the one who massacred the 3 tribes? The young man muttered. "That's right. This person was Qin Feiyang." As for Fatso and Wolf King, they were both in seclusion in the castle. Before he came to the Sky Thunder City, he had considered many factors, so he changed his appearance. But he didn't expect that they would use the Heaven's Eye Stone to check. Now, it was obviously impossible to enter from the city gate. However, don't forget that he had stayed in Sky Thunder City before and knew the coordinates of the city. Immediately, he turned and strode away, walking into a small forest. Then, he opened the portal and appeared in front of the Spring Rain Inn. Qin Feiyang was no stranger to Spring Rain Inn. He remembered that when he first came to Sky Thunder City, it was the Pill Pagoda's assessment and all the restaurants in Sky Thunder City were full. At that time, he couldn't find a restaurant to stay in. Coincidentally, he met Mu Qing and her sister here. Mu Qing even invited him to stay with them. But he didn't agree. After all these years, the Spring Rain brothel hadn't changed much. The only difference was that it wasn't as lively as before. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at the plaque above the door. Then, he strode in. The Spring Rain brothel wasn't very big, and there were only about 20 or so tables in the main hall. There were a few scattered tables of guests, who were drinking and chatting. However, there were still many private rooms upstairs. Under the lead of the waiter, Qin Feiyang walked to a table in the corner. "Young master, what do you need?" the waiter asked. Qin Feiyang said, "Give me 2 side dishes and a pot of wine." "All right." The shop assistant yelled, turned around, and ran away. Qin Feiyang calmed down and listened to the discussions of the people at the other tables. In the beginning, the people at those tables were talking about some unimportant topics. But suddenly, a middle-aged man at one of the tables frowned and said, "Do you think that Qin Feiyang is really back?" The moment they heard the name Qin Feiyang, the others immediately quieted down. A moment later, a young man said, "I think it's already true. If it's true, then Sky Thunder City will probably be in chaos again." That's right. Back then, this person used his monstrous talent in alchemy to suppress countless geniuses and become the last disciple of the pagoda master. Later on, he even looted the treasure trove and pill fire of the three great tribes. He can be said to be famous. For a moment, everyone began to discuss. At this time, the waiter walked over with 2 plates of side dishes, a pair of bowls and chopsticks, a wine pot, and a wine cup, and placed them in front of Qin Feiyang. "Young master, this is the wine and dishes you ordered. Please enjoy." The waiter gave a flattering smile and left again. Qin Feiyang picked up the wine pot and quietly poured himself a drink. "I'm just wondering. With this person's talent and ability, it can be said that his future is limitless, but why would he do such a thing? Are you stupid?" Suddenly, a voice full of puzzlement sounded. That's right. If he hadn't done those things back then, the pagoda master and the city lord wouldn't have killed him. What a pity. But what puzzles me the most is that why did he come back? Could it be that he already has the strength to contend with the pagoda master? Don't joke around. It's only been a few years since he escaped. How could he become so strong? What's more, what kind of existence is the pagoda master? Even if he is given a few more years, it's impossible for him to become an expert at the same level as the pagoda master. Yes, not to mention the pagoda master, even the city lord can easily kill him. The discussion at those tables became louder and louder. In the end, even the waiter of the restaurant couldn't help but chime in a few times. As for Qin Feiyang, he kept his head down and drank silently. Time passed by little. When it was noon, the number of guests in the restaurant increased, and it became lively. Without exception, they were all talking about this matter. But in this morning, Qin Feiyang didn't get any valuable information. He didn't wait any longer. He took out more than 10 gold coins, threw them on the table, and got up to leave the city lord's mansion. During this period of time, this place was also heavily guarded. Each of the guards held a halberd, standing straight like an iron pine. Anyone who saw a suspicious person would be stopped by them for questioning. At this moment, Qin Feiyang was standing in front of the gate of the city lord's mansion. The 4 guards on both sides of the gate looked at him vigilantly. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang couldn't help laughing. He was not a devil who ate people without spitting out the bones. Was it necessary to be so nervous when they heard that he was back? Ahem. With a dry cough, Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, "I'm Wang Hao. I have something to discuss with the city lord. Please inform him." "What's the matter with the city lord?" One of the guards frowned. Qin Feiyang said calmly, "I found traces of Qin Feiyang outside the city earlier." What? He really came back? The 4 guards suddenly changed color. "Come with me quickly." After coming back to his senses, one of them immediately turned around and ran into the city lord's mansion. Qin Feiyang shook his head with a smile and strode after him. A moment later, a magnificent hall came into Qin Feiyang's sight. There were sentries every 3 steps around the hall. Even a fly couldn't fly in. The leader of the group was a burly man who was dressed differently from the guards. The other guards were all wearing beastskin coats, but this person was wearing a long black robe made of cloth. The aura he exuded was far beyond that of the other guards. He was a 9-star war emperor. And this person was no stranger to Qin Feiyang. He was the guard commander of Sky Thunder City. Strange. Qin Feiyang glanced at them one by one. Looking at this formation, it didn't seem to be guarding against him. When Qin Feiyang and the guard approached, the guard commander glanced at Qin Feiyang, then looked at the guard who led the way and asked, "Who is he?" The guard hurriedly said, "His name is Wang Hao. He said that he found traces of Qin Feiyang outside the city." N. The guard commander was shocked. He quickly looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Really?" "Absolutely." Qin Feiyang nodded. The guard commander's pupils contracted as he said in a low voice, "The city lord is currently trying to break through to the two-star war master. He should be done soon." "Wait a moment. Breakthrough?" Qin Feiyang was slightly startled, then nodded and said, "All right." Only now did he understand that these people were protecting the city lord. Boom! After about 100 breaths of time, a powerful aura suddenly rushed out from the main hall. The guard commander's face immediately revealed a trace of joy. Not long after, the door opened and a middle-aged man strode out. His entire body was filled with an imposing aura. He wore a fitting white robe with white hair at his temples, giving off a feeling of vicissitudes of life. He stood there, his long hair fluttering in the wind, imperceptibly emitting an extremely strong oppressive force. "Congratulations, City Lord." The guard commander and the others all bowed and exclaimed. The City Lord nodded and said with a smile, "Thank you for your hard work." With that, he looked at the guard commander and asked, "Is there any news about Qin Feiyang?" "Yes." The guard commander nodded, pointed at Qin Feiyang, and said, "Sir, he found traces of Qin Feiyang outside the city." "Where is it?" The city lord immediately looked at Qin Feiyang and asked. Qin Feiyang said, "It's in a forest, not too far away." The city lord was overjoyed and anxiously said, "All right, bring me there immediately." "Yes." Qin Feiyang respectfully replied and immediately opened a teleportation gate. The city lord also immediately walked towards the teleportation gate. The guard commander hurriedly asked, "Sir, do you want this subordinate to go and help?" "No need." Back then, when Qin Feiyang escaped, he was only a war king. Now that only 6 years have passed, he is at most a war emperor. With this city lord's strength as a 2-star war master, taking him down is as easy as flipping my hand. The city lord laughed disdainfully and walked into the teleportation gate without looking back. "As easy as flipping your hand," Qin Feiyang muttered to himself. A light flashed in the depths of his eyes, and he also stepped into the teleportation gate. Above a glacier, Qin Feiyang and the city lord appeared one after another. Scanning the glacier below, the city lord's eyes immediately revealed a trace of bewilderment. Qin Feiyang crossed his arms in front of his chest and said with a faint smile, "Are you thinking right now, why haven't you seen this place before?" The city lord frowned and turned to look at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Qin Feiyang said, "This is not outside Sky Thunder City, but the Glacier Forest." "Glacier Forest?" The city lord was slightly startled and asked in confusion, "Why did you bring me here?" Qin Feiyang said, "Answer my question first. Do you really want to kill Qin Feiyang that much?" "Humph. This child has committed a heinous crime. He deserves to be killed." The city lord coldly snorted. "Is that so? I'm afraid you can't kill him now, because the current him is stronger than you." Chapter 747. This aura is so strong. The city lord's expression changed, and he retreated without hesitation. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted slightly, he stepped on the phantom steps and instantly appeared behind the city lord. Following closely, he raised his arm and slapped the city lord's back. Puff! The city lord immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. He lost his balance and shot forward. Shwa! Qin Feiyang used the phantom steps again and chased after him like lightning, stepping on the city lord's back again. Ah! Accompanied by a blood-curdling scream, the city lord smashed into the glacier below like a meteorite. Ka-cha! The glacier within a radius of several miles was instantly razed to the ground, turning into ruins. Whiz! At the same time, Qin Feiyang also turned into a ray of light and landed on top of the ruins. The city lord was lying weakly in a deep pit, his entire body dripping with blood. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, "Do you know why I attacked you?" "Why?" The city lord crawled up with difficulty and looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion. "Because," Qin Feiyang took out a facial restoration pill and placed it in his mouth. In the blink of an eye, his true appearance would be restored. Looking at that mature and determined face, the city lord's eyes almost popped out. "How is this possible? It's only been a few years, but your cultivation has actually," whether it was his face or his eyes, they were filled with disbelief. "Nothing is impossible when it comes to me." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The city lord's gaze trembled as he said in shock, "In such a short period of time, you broke through from the War King to the 3-star war sect. How did you do it?" Qin Feiyang said, "It's not a 3-star war sect, it's a 4-star war sect." 4-star war sect. When the city lord heard this, it was as if a bolt of lightning had exploded in his mind, rumbling loudly. No wonder even he didn't have any power to resist. It turned out that his cultivation was so strong. "As for how I did it, that has nothing to do with you. Right now, you only need to answer a few questions of mine." Qin Feiyang said. "What question?" the city lord asked, his eyes filled with fear. "Pagoda master, do you have a pill pagoda now?" Qin Feiyang said. The city lord's pupils constricted as he asked in bewilderment, inquiring about the pagoda master's whereabouts. "What do you want to do?" Qin Feiyang's eyes turned cold as he said, "You are not qualified to ask questions now." The city lord shrunk his neck and said, "The tower master is not in the pill tower right now." "Not here?" Qin Feiyang frowned and asked, "Where is she now?" "I don't know either. She will only appear when it's time to recruit disciples. Once the disciples are sent out of the pill tower, she will leave again." The city lord shook his head. Qin Feiyang frowned. Judging from the city lord's words, why did the pill tower sound like a temporary office? Why would he leave after finishing his business? Qin Feiyang's face darkened. "Do you really not know, or are you pretending not to know?" "I really don't know." The city lord roared anxiously. Qin Feiyang looked at the city lord for a moment and did not find any trace of lying. He said, "Then is there no one in the pill tower now?" "Yes, the people who entered the pill tower with you back then have all been sent out." The city lord nodded. "Good opportunity." Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. As long as the tower master was not in the pill tower, the heavenly thunder flame would be his. However, if he took away the heavenly thunder flame, would this clue of Mu Qing be cut off? Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang looked at the city lord and asked, "Do you know a person named Mu Qing?" Mu Qing? The city lord was slightly stunned. After thinking carefully for a moment, he said, "The person who entered the pill tower with you back then?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "I know. Although his alchemy talent is not as good as yours, he is still considered one of the best." The city lord said. Qin Feiyang said, "The answer I want is not this, but his background." The city lord shook his head and said, "I don't know about this. You have to ask the tower master." Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said, "Then it seems that there is no use in keeping you." "Heard of it." The city lord's expression changed and he hurriedly said, "Don't kill me. I will do whatever you want me to do." "Is that so? Then if I ask you to go and get the heavenly thunder flame for me, do you dare to go?" Qin Feiyang looked at him mockingly. The city lord's expression stiffened. The owner of the heavenly thunder flame was the tower master of the pill tower. After being together for so long, he knew the tower master's strength better than anyone else. It was no exaggeration to say that even if he was a 2-star combat grandmaster, he would not be a match for the tower master. Therefore, even if he borrowed courage from the heavens, he would not dare to touch the heavenly thunder flame. Furthermore, now that the pill tower was in a closed state, even if he wanted to, he could not enter at all. This was because the stone door of the pill tower required the blood of the tower master to open. In the end, you are still worthless, Qin Feiyang said. He slowly raised his arm and battle aura surged at his fingertips. Please, don't kill me, can I be your slave? The city lord was terrified and directly knelt on the ground and begged. He had just broken through to 2-star combat grandmaster and did not even have the time to enjoy the pleasure brought by strength. He was unwilling to die just like that. Looking down at this person, Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. Suddenly, his heart stirred and he slowly lowered his raised arm. Seeing this, the city lord was pleasantly surprised. Was he not planning to kill him? Not long ago, I mastered a very powerful ability. I will use you as an experiment. Qin Feiyang suddenly grinned and formed a seal with both hands in front of his chest. Buzz! In less than 3 breaths, a palm-sized pentagram appeared. It was the slavery seal. As Qin Feiyang waved his hand, the slavery seal rushed into the city lord's head like lightning. Immediately, the city lord revealed a pained expression as he hugged his head and howled miserably. But very soon, he stopped screaming. At the same time, Qin Feiyang also clearly sensed that he had already controlled the city lord's soul. What did you do to me? The city lord suddenly raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang, his eyes filled with shock and bewilderment. Slavery seal, Qin Feiyang said indifferently. With a slight thought, the city lord immediately screamed again. His face was distorted and looked incomparably ferocious. Damn it! What the hell is this? My head hurts so much, the city lord roared hysterically, feeling as if his head was about to split into 4 or 5 pieces. But this intense pain disappeared in the blink of an eye. Although it was only in the blink of an eye, the city lord felt as if he had experienced 10,000 years of pain. His entire body was already drenched in sweat. The slavery seal can control the soul. Now, no matter where you are, no matter how many years have passed between us, as long as I think about it, I can make you die on the spot. Moreover, I can also see through your thoughts, Qin Feiyang said. Hearing this, the city lord collapsed to the ground on the spot, his face pale. Remember, don't do anything to betray me. After all, to me, you have no value at all. It doesn't matter whether I keep you or not, Qin Feiyang said indifferently. The city lord quivered and hurriedly knelt on the ground, saying, Thank you, master, for not killing me. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, Go back now and pretend that nothing happened. Heavenly thunder flame? The city lord asked cautiously. Qin Feiyang said, I need to think about it again. If I really decide to snatch the heavenly thunder flame, you have to pretend to stop me. Understood. The city lord nodded. Qin Feiyang said again, Take out the image crystal and establish a contract bridge. If there is any news in the future, it will be convenient to inform me. Yes. The city lord replied respectfully. After he took out the image crystal and established a contract bridge with Qin Feiyang, he said respectfully, Then I will go back first. By the way, when you go back, investigate Mu Qing's background for me, Qin Feiyang said. Okay. The city lord nodded respectfully, then opened a portal and left quickly. Qin Feiyang also lowered his head and fell into deep thought. It was not worth it to lose the clue of Mu Qing in order to snatch the heavenly thunder flame. But the problem was, would Mu Qing come back again? After thinking about it again and again, Qin Feiyang finally decided to wait. He would wait for the next Pill Pagoda assessment and see how it goes. Swish! He flashed and entered the ancient castle and began to copy the 3rd stroke of the kill formula. Strength could solve everything. Whether it was in the Forgotten Land or the Great Qin Empire, his current strength was far from enough. And according to his speculation, the situation in the Forgotten Land might be more complicated than the Great Qin Empire. The City Lord Mansion. As soon as the City Lord returned, the guard commander asked, Sir, "Where is Qin Feiyang?" The city lord said, "He ran away." "What? He can escape from your hands?" The guard commander was very shocked. "He didn't escape from my hands. After I went there, there was no trace of him. I don't know where he is hiding now." The city lord said. "So that's how it is." The guard commander was suddenly enlightened and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. If he really escaped from the city lord's hands, it would be too shocking. "Okay, I'm a little tired. I'm going to rest. You also keep an eye on the outside. Once there is news about Qin Feiyang, report to me immediately. In addition, investigate another person. This person is called Mu Qing. I want to know all the details about him. The sooner the better." The city lord ordered. "Yes." The guard commander nodded in response, then turned and strode away. Sigh. Who did I offend? Who did I offend? The city lord let out a deep sigh. With a stomach full of resentment, he quickly disappeared from the hall. Time passed in a flash. 3 months passed. Boom! On this day, Qin Feiyang's arm trembled, and the third stroke of the word "kill" under his fingertips blossomed with a dazzling light. His aura also soared. In the blink of an eye, he had broken through the shackles and reached the level of a 5-star war master. However, compared to the first and second strokes, the third stroke took even longer. If one were to calculate carefully, it would be 3 months and 2 days. As for the next few strokes, it would definitely take a lot of time for him to complete them. However, he was very satisfied. After all, for others, it would take at least a few years or even decades to break through a small realm of the War Master. 5-star War Master, I'm one step closer to the War Saint. Just you wait, I'll be back soon. Chapter 748. Buzz. Soon. The city lord's shadow appeared and bowed. "Greetings, master." Qin Feiyang asked, "I asked you to investigate Mu Qing. How is the investigation going?" "I'm sorry, I'm incompetent." The city lord panicked and hurriedly knelt on the ground. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. "I've sent people to investigate all the tribes within a radius of 10,000 miles. There's no such person as Mu Qing." The city lord panicked. Qin Feiyang was silent for a while, then asked, "What about the tribes deeper in?" The Forgotten Land was extremely vast, and the Sky Thunder City was not the end. And in the depths, there were even more powerful tribes. The city lord shook his head. "I didn't inquire about the tribes deeper in." "Why not?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "Master might not know, but there is a glacier 1,000 miles away from the Sky Thunder City. According to the city lord, fierce beasts ran amok in the glacier. With his strength, entering would only lead to death. This was equivalent to saying that this glacier was a dividing line. Qin Feiyang said, "You should know about the tribe on the other side of the glacier, right?" "I've heard of that. There are 2 large tribes right across the glacier. They are the Wang tribe and the Li tribe. Rumor has it that the population of these 2 tribes is in the hundreds of thousands, and they both have a 5-star war sect overseeing them." The city lord said truthfully. 5-star war sect. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, his eyes revealing a trace of disdain, and asked, "How long until the next Pill Pagoda assessment?" 4 months. The city lord thought for a moment and said. Qin Feiyang immediately frowned. He actually had to wait for 4 months? The city lord hesitated for a moment, then carefully asked, "Master, there's something I don't know if I should say." "Speak." Qin Feiyang said. The city lord said, "Once when this subordinate was chatting with the pagoda master, she accidentally said something." "What did she say?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. The city lord said, "She said that the Pill Pagoda's power is huge, enough to control the situation of the Forgotten Continent." Qin Feiyang's expression froze. How could a mere pill tower have the power to influence the entire Forgotten Continent? Suddenly, He seemed to have thought of something and asked, other than Sky Thunder City, are there any other pill pagodas? Somewhere else? The city lord was stunned. After thinking for a moment, he shook his head and said, I don't know. This subordinate only knows that there is only one pill tower in this region, the Sky Thunder City. After that, the city lord also seemed to have thought of something and said in surprise, Master's meaning is that Sky Thunder City's pill tower might just be a branch of the pill tower? This is the only explanation. Otherwise, the tower master wouldn't dare to say such a thing. Qin Feiyang said. It does seem reasonable. The city lord nodded thoughtfully. If that was the case, then it would be too inconceivable. That's not right. As the Sky Thunder City's city lord, why don't you even know the ins and outs of the pill tower? Qin Feiyang frowned. It was common knowledge that every place had a person who wielded supreme power. For example, in the spiritual state. Whether it was the Black Bear City, Yen City, or the Prefecture City, they were all under the jurisdiction of the Palace Lord. The city lords of the various cities were naturally considered subordinates of the Palace Lord. Similarly, above the Sky Thunder City's city lord, there should be even more powerful people in charge. Even if the Sky Thunder City's city lord didn't know, those higher up in power should at least know the ins and outs of the pill tower, right? And the pill tower was located in the city, occupying a place. Shouldn't the person in charge above reveal a thing or two to the Sky Thunder City's city lord? At the very least, the city lord of the Sky Thunder City should know the origins of the pill tower, right? But why was the city lord of the Sky Thunder City unaware? When the city lord heard this, he said respectfully, Master, you may not know this, but this pill tower is very mysterious. It is even older than the Sky Thunder City. After pausing for a moment, the city lord continued, rumor has it that the first-generation city lord had to obtain the consent of the pill tower's pagoda master before establishing the Sky Thunder City. This, Qin Feiyang was a little stunned. Furthermore, the cities of the Forgotten Land are basically built by rogue cultivators like us. They have nothing to do with any tribe or power. The city lord added. I see. Qin Feiyang revealed a look of understanding. If that was the case, then it was not strange that the city lord of the Sky Thunder City did not know the ins and outs of the pill tower. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang realized that he had overlooked a problem and said, You just said that this place is called the Forgotten Land? That's right. Master doesn't know? The city lord nodded and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Qin Feiyang said, I am not from here, so of course I don't know. In our place, this place is called the Forgotten Land. Forgotten Land? The city lord was stunned and said with a flattering smile, It's only 2 words, not much difference. The difference is huge. Qin Feiyang looked at him indifferently. Although it was only 2 words, the meaning was as different as heaven and earth. The Forgotten Land could be understood as a small place to train and would not be too big. But the continent was different. The continent included many plates and was the general name of a world. This also meant that the Forgotten Continent was a complete world. It could even be an independent big world. Looks like the water here is very deep. Qin Feiyang muttered to himself and calmed down a little. He looked at the city lord and said, Do you know the coordinates of the Li tribe and the Wang tribe? Never been there, I don't know. The city lord shook his head. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, Okay, on the day of the pill tower's examination, remember to send me a message. Also, help me collect the medicinal ingredients for the battle chi pill, the more the better. Finished speaking, he turned off the image crystal. Farewell, master. The city lord respectfully bowed and watched Qin Feiyang's image disappear. Only then did he let out a sigh of relief. But immediately after, his face was filled with bewilderment. If he wasn't from the Forgotten Continent, then where did this mysterious master come from? After Qin Feiyang put away the image crystal, he was not in a hurry to copy the 4th stroke of the kill character formula. He walked to the front of the Flood Dragon Cauldron and opened the furnace to refine pills. The pill he was refining was naturally the battle chi pill. Now, in the ancient castle, other than the black dragon snake, everyone needed a large amount of battle chi pills to cultivate. Especially when copying the 6-word divine formula, the consumption of battle chi pills was several times that of Fatso and Wolf King combined. And the battle chi pills that he had refined before had already been used up. So, in the next 4 months, Qin Feiyang planned to use all of it to refine battle chi pills for future use. Time was like the sand between fingers, passing in the blink of an eye. City Lord, informed that the Pill Tower's examination will officially begin in a month. 3 months later, in the morning, a woman's voice resounded in the sky above Sky Thunder City. It was crisp and pleasant to the ear, but it carried a great sense of majesty. This was the voice of the Pill Tower. At the same time as the voice sounded, a graceful woman stood in the sky above Sky Thunder City. She had a head of long sky-blue hair that was like the clear sky, making her look pleasing to the eye. But on her cheeks, she wore an exquisite mask that covered her true appearance. Her temperament was outstanding. Although her true appearance could not be seen, she gave off a stunning feeling. It was the pagoda master that Qin Feiyang had been waiting for a long time. However, before the people of Sky Thunder City could react, the pagoda master had already entered the Pill Tower and disappeared without a trace. But hearing the pagoda master's voice, everyone was in an uproar. This news was like a plague, crazily spreading to the various tribes. For a time, the people of the various tribes were all wild with joy. The Pill Tower's examination had finally begun again. Qin Feiyang also received the city lord's message at the first moment, but he did not immediately head to Sky Thunder City. Instead, he buried himself in refining pills. After all, there was still a month's time. And just as he was refining pills, the city lord also sent him a batch of battle chi pills medicinal ingredients, which amounted to more than 1 million sets. And during this period of time, he had been working hard enough. After using up all his mental energy, he would rest, and after resting, he would immediately continue. So far, he had already refined more than 400,000 pills. On the day before the Pill Tower's official examination, Qin Feiyang finally stopped, his expression rather haggard. However, when he looked at the universe bag beside him, his face was full of smiles. In these 4 months, he had refined a total of more than 500,000 battle chi pills, and all of them had 4 pill patterns, which was enough for everyone to use for a long time. It had already been 7 months since they entered the Forgotten Continent. In these 7 months, everyone's strength had advanced by leaps and bounds. Wolf King and Fatso had both stepped into the 5-star War Master. The Pangolin had also broken through to the 3-star War Master. Lu Hong, under her continuous efforts, had finally stepped into the War Master realm. As for the Black Dragon Snake, who had destroyed his own cultivation, after opening the door of potential, his speed was astonishingly fast. Now, he had already recovered the cultivation of a 5-star martial ancestor. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he could step into the War King realm. Seeing that Qin Feiyang had stopped refining pills, Fatso also opened his eyes and asked, "Boss, what if there's no news of Mu Qing? Then we'll go deeper into the Forgotten Continent." Qin Feiyang said without hesitation. "All right, Fat Lord, continue to cultivate. I'll definitely surpass you." Fatso chuckled, then closed his eyes and continued to cultivate. "Surpass me?" Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. Honestly speaking, he was quite envious of Fatso and the others. They didn't need to care about anything, they just needed to cultivate. As for him, he felt that he had too many things to do. Just like this time. If it wasn't for the fact that he had been refining battle chi pills for the past 4 months, he would have already imitated the 4th stroke of the kill formula. His cultivation had already stepped into the 6-star War Master. However, there was nothing he could do. Who asked him to be the leader of this small team? As a leader, he had to shoulder this responsibility. Shwa. After calming himself down, Qin Feiyang left the castle and took out the image crystal. Not long later, The image of the city lord appeared. Qin Feiyang said, I'll give you a mission. Master, please speak. The city lord said respectfully. Mu Qin is a very smart person. He should have guessed that I would be waiting for him in Sky Thunder City. So, if he comes to participate in the Pill Pagoda's examination this time, he might change his appearance. Qin Feiyang said. The city lord thought for a moment, then said, Master, you mean to thoroughly investigate everyone who came to participate in the examination this time? Not bad, you've become smarter. Yes, we can't let anyone go. If there are any suspicious people, you must record them and report to me when the time comes. Qin Feiyang said. All right, this subordinate will do it now. The city lord nodded respectfully, and the image disappeared. Qin Feiyang put away the image crystal and looked at the sky, his eyes flickering. He had a premonition.